From Studio A in Texas, USA, it's the award-winning All Things Automotive Car Talk Show in real time. Just ahead, a review of our pre-owned car of the week, the 2016 Mercedes-Benz E-Class Wagon. We'll have a rundown of cruise-ins that you might be interested in. We'll have This Week in Automotive History and the stories making automotive news headlines, along with a couple of guests. That and more just ahead on today's In Wheel Time Car Show for Saturday, December 26th, 2020. It's the post-Christmas show. Howdy, along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong, Jeff Zekin over there, who actually has a camera on him. Can you throw that? There he is.
There he is. Hi, Jeffrey.
Ta-da.
See, somebody keeps on writing on the Facebook page, we need more Jeff.
And
there we are.
And I appreciate that. I'm going to leave the shot up all the whole 2 hours, 3 hours.
I think you should. That's exactly what you should do. Kind of washed out there.
There you go.
Anyway. So glad that you could join us. I hope you got what you wanted for Christmas and are COVID-free. And if you're not COVID-free, I hope that things are going well for you. We had somebody at work that came down with COVID.
Oh, my.
I wasn't near them. And,
At the station or at the helicopter?
No, I don't go to the station.
Okay.
They won't let me in. No, seriously, ever
picture.
since the COVID thing, there's no visitors allowed. I mean, some of the reporters are now, every once in a while, go in. But most folks are out.
Working remote. Yeah.
So.
I'll be darned.
So there's that. Anyway, do we have our first guest?
Yes, sir.
Are you teasing me?
No, I'm not. He's here.
He's ready.
I can hear him.
Is he? Okay.
Good to go.
Well, let's jump over and talk to a fellow by the name of James Rogerson, and he is with the Winter.
See him?
I don't see him.
I'm sorry?
I see him.
Well, maybe we don't. We have him, but Jeff doesn't have him.
Okay, well,
No.
all right.
Mr.
Well,
Rogerson,
when you
hold
guys,
on a
when
few
you guys
seconds.
get
We'll
your
be there shortly.
get your act together there, then you'll let me know. I do have a couple of things that I wanted to do, and
It's always a new experience.
no, so Jeff is going to be doing a review on his pre-owned car of the week, which is the 2016 Mercedes-Benz E-Class Wagon. So I just happened to have a list of the 9 all-time favorite wagons according to Haggerty.
Oh, okay. Well,
I love
I'm
this
assuming
segment.
there's a couple of Oldsmobiles on there.
Let's just take a look, shall we? The 1981 to 1987 AMC Eagle.
Really?
Oh, yeah, I remember
That's
that.
on the list. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was actually kind of before Subaru got famous for their four-wheel drive. That
Right.
was a four-wheel drive
And
or an all-wheel drive.
And it really wasn't bad looking.
Nope.
It did, and I think that they sold a bunch of them. The theme was in, let's see, from 4 to 6 figures, round up to 9 favorite wagon. The theme was inspired by the Wagon Queen family truckster. So we're going to move on from the 81 to 87 AMC Eagle.
A lot of good it did them.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody loves our wagons. So
Well,
we're going to
you
go
know, we
ahead.
were
I
talking,
love wagons.
We were talking about the Mercedes-Benz. Well, one of them is the 1979 through 1985 Mercedes-Benz S123 wagon.
Huh.
Wow.
I'll pass that.
I didn't realize that Mercedes made that many wagons, but
Well,
yeah.
You,
Now I know which one this is.
it's that.
Still don't see many of them, but yeah.
Correct. Here's one. The 1948 Marmon Harrington Super Deluxe station wagon. And you probably will remember this from Holiday Inn, the movie Holiday Inn. Remember that? I should have given Jeff the pictures, but
Woody.
I didn't. It was a Woody. Yeah. Pretty cool car, I think.
And you know why they made Woodies, right?
Well, I think
Was it less expensive than the
No,
steel?
it was because
World War II.
because the hold on metal for
yeah.
the war effort
Well,
of
that's
World
true,
War II.
here's one. Now, this is considered a wagon, kind of. The 1973 to 1991 Chevrolet Suburban.
Oh, I don't consider that a wagon.
That was more of a panel van, wasn't it?
No.
It still is a panel. It still
Well,
is a big
it's
sport
based on a
utility.
truck, but remember, at the beginning of the Suburban, and I mean it goes way
back
before
into the
that.
30s.
But one of the things is that it really didn't have all the flexibility that today's Suburban does.
Well, yeah.
You couldn't take out the third row. You had to unbolt it if you wanted it out of there.
And there was no rear door on the driver's side. The only rear door was on the passenger side.
Yeah. And it had some sort of funkated clamshell back end with the tailgate.
But that was for delivery purposes. We pull up on the passenger side the door because it was for delivery on the curbside.
Correct.
2006 to 2008 Dodge SRT8 Magnum.
I love that.
That is,
I love that.
Stan used to have one of those.
You're getting ahead of me. You're getting ahead of me because that's what this is compared with at the end. So.
Well, you didn't have to spoil it by telling us now.
You
could have.
I like the Magnum.
The 1967 Ford Country Squire.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Classic.
With the vinyl wood grain.
Can you imagine if you had one of those today? You'd be the talk of the town.
Wasn't that the Brady Bunch car?
Yes, and back then, you think about the third row today, it's always facing forward. And then the Chevrolets and the Buicks and the Oldsmobiles, the third row faced rearward. In the Country Squire, the third row faced inward.
Right.
So you sat with your back to the side window facing the center of the car.
So right or
because
left,
of all of the complaints that people would get through the highway department that the kids are throwing signs out the back window facing oncoming traffic. How about the 1994 to 1996 Buick Roadmaster?
Oh, yeah.
2021 Audi RS6 Avant.
Yeah, but they don't. They say popular. They didn't sell any.
I don't think that's
2008 HSV Club Sport R8 Tourer.
HSV Club Sport. Oh, come on.
And let's not forget the 60s Oldsmobile Vista Cruiser.
Vista Cruiser, which was the one with the glass
on the top,
and the ceiling.
Yeah, sort of like a Vista train. You had the viewing
Vista
car,
View, right.
Vista View train car.
And those are actually quite collectible today. You got to remember back then, those came. Most of the Vista Cruisers were 455s in that little A body. Beasters.
My aunt and uncle had one, and we went from Birmingham down to Pensacola Beach, where they had a summer place down there. And they put the Bulldog up on the passenger side floor, footwell. And the dog had a gas problem. And all the way there.
Don's still doing that today.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the dog. No,
It's always the dog.
Poor Suze.
That's why I always have a dog around, so I can blame those sort of malfunctions on the dog.
Exactly.
And everybody believes it. All right, do we have James ready?
Yes,
we
sir.
do.
All right, James Rogerson, and he is joining us now. James, apologies, we had some sort of a technical issue on this end. Imagine that. But, James, it's good to talk to you. Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us today. The Winter Enduro. Tell us about that.
Yeah, the MSR Houston, we try to support our members with something to do on the holidays when almost everyone else is shut down. And we started out probably 10 years ago doing Australian pursuits with Miatas, and that's kind of built up over a time until we're added in enduros last year, and then this year we're just going to do an enduro.
Explain what an enduro is for our viewers and listeners that don't really know what an enduro is.
Yeah, an enduro, I know more motorcycles than I do from cars, but, it's an endurance race where you get to go out and see how long you and your vehicle can stand it. That's the best way to put it.
That's a perfect way to put it. How long we can stand it. Well, that's perfect. Well, so where is the Winter Enduro taking place?
In MSR Houston and Angleton, Texas, we're one performance drive. We're just off 288 headed towards Lexington from Houston.
And when does the event take place?
1 o'clock today. We run 1 to 5, 4 hours.
4 hours, kind of like going from here to Dallas.
Yeah, something like that with the bathroom break.
Yeah, so what?
Well, so there's a Buc-ee's down there too, huh?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you always got to stop
We're
at Buc-ee's on the way to Dallas.
So what?
Yeah, Lake Jackson is the home of Buc-ee's. We're the porcelain capital of the world.
So what kind of cars are you going to see if we go down there?
We split them up into 3 groups: Spec Miatas, and B-Spec, which is all your B-Series cars, anywhere from a Fiat 500 to a Sonic, a Chevy Sonic, GLC Minis, Fits, vehicles like that. And then our third group is kind of a catch-all, and we've got all those that most of the major groups, SCCA, NASA, don't really let in. We let the Lemons guys in, the WRL, the old WRL cars, champ cars or chump cars as they're called.
Chump cars.
Yeah. And then some of the IT cars that have been orphaned off. And so we just bundle those guys all up together. And after I see who shows up, then I decide who wins and who doesn't.
That's perfect.
So he can be bought.
So just everybody on the track,
absolutely.
All at once.
Absolutely, yes. The part of the deal is it's kind of like running the Daytona 24-hour where you've got really, really fast cars and really, really slow cars, and buyer beware.
Yeah. So you got to be careful.
The slow cars have got a real responsibility to pay attention to what's coming up behind them.
Especially in that rear view mirror.
Right.
So do the fast cars go out first and the slow cars go out second, or they just mix?
Throw them out there.
James
is going to
be out there with them all the time anyway, so you might as well just get out there and go.
Got it. All right, so we're going to put you on hold for just a minute while we're going to try to fix the audio problem here. And in the meantime, we can sit and talk about that. The enduro races, you really don't see that so much anymore. And so it's a timed event, and I guess it goes by class typically. And I assume that they put the fastest in one class, the medium fast in another class, and slow in another class.
Well, yeah, he said Spec Miata, which is, probably one of the most popular road racing series out there because Miatas are so affordable. And then the Spec Miata, everybody's basically running to a degree a similar car. They're all they got some balance of performance for different year models of Miatas to make sure everybody's running about the same. And there's a lot of those around, people looking to race them. And what an opportunity to go down to MSR today and throw it on the track and chase it around. And then he said B-Spec, which is kind of the little four-cylinder race cars. And I guess he's going to have some, there's room for everybody else in his top line class as well. But this is not a 24 hours of lemons. This is people with serious race cars that are on the track for 4 hours, not people that are just going out and buying a $500 beater and throwing it on the track.
Well, as a matter of fact, speaking of such a thing, I knew somebody that bought a $2,000 Miata that was pretty much wore out. And so what they did was they painted it, they put a roll bar in it, and they put whatever specifications that you have to get on the track on it, bought a helmet, and away they went. And I think that there are cars out there like that you can buy. Obviously, if they're already designed to get on the track immediately, then it's going to be a little bit more because they've got more money into it.
So first
roll bar and that sort of thing.
You got to get the rule book first.
Well, that would probably behoove you. Yeah. Although I never lived by the rule book.
Well, a lot of people get the rule books or so they can find how they can cheat.
There you go.
Where can I kind of follow the rules but circumvent it a little bit so I'm just a little bit faster than everybody else in my class?
Well, I have to tell you that when I was showing the Corvette, the original Corvette, I never really paid any attention to the rule book as to what class I was going to show the Corvette in. And it cost me. But I didn't care about that at the time. I wanted to make the car look like I wanted it to look. I didn't care what class it was in.
It's your car.
It was my car. Well, then I got a little bit more serious about it, and I wound up in one of two classes. One was street modified at the time, street modified. Well, then that threw me in a class where guys could put, big spoilers on the back, do a lot more things to it than I did, but I was thrown into that class.
And those things have evolved to today's modified vehicles as well that they have on. You see at the auctions, they call it a modified or stock mod or pro mod that they run through the auction block and shows where they've done things to the engine or the body.
Yeah, most of the time you really can't tell about the engine other than maybe a swapped out air cleaner and some headers or something like that. You really don't know what they've done to the inside of the motor. For me, I never really messed inside.
One of the other cool things about this is it's quite affordable. I'm on the website, and it's $100 an hour per car to race. So you can throw your car on the track for $400, and then your cost of being on track as well. So it's not a real expensive endeavor to go out there and throw your car on the track and race.
Is that comparable to other events and their other
No, that's
organizations?
actually quite a bit cheaper than anything else you can go do.
Well, James, we're going to try to get you back on the air here once again and come back to you and see if our audio has improved any. But at any rate, I guess that you heard part of our conversation there. We were kind of dissecting the whole thing about this racing event that you've got this afternoon. I find it interesting that you've scheduled it the day after Christmas. Is this pretty typical for you guys?
Apparently not, because it looks like he can't hear us.
I can't hear. Okay. Well, we'll hopefully get back to him, and if not, we're going to continue the conversation about enduro racing. And these kind of events actually take place across the country, and they're put together by different organizers or promoters, whatever you want to call it. And they work for several months putting this together. And once you're inside the loop, like, for instance, an SCCA event, that sort of thing, you find out about these kinds of things. And plus, you make friends, and they say, hey, man, you going to come down here to the race this weekend?
Oh,
well,
yeah.
what race?
And it spreads like wildfire within the community. And what we're trying to do with the show is get the word out that these type of events are there quite often. MSR has got lots of events all the time. You can go to msrhouston.com and see all of the other events that they've got going on. And most all of the time, whatever event they have, spectators are free. They charge the drivers to come and put the car on the track, but the spectators are free. So if you're looking for a little bit of local racing action, dropping into MSR to enjoy some road racing, some local road racing action is going to be pretty easy to do.
And, there are tracks like MSR all across the country. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, I think that there's another one around the region, and I can't remember. I want to say it's
one in Crescent.
Well, up north of Houston, I think, somewhere off of 59. I don't recall exactly, but I know that there are tracks like that, and they range in length from a mile to 2.5 miles.
Do you think they do that because of the enthusiasts that, you let them in at no charge, that maybe get inspired to say, hey, that looks fun?
I don't think that they do it for that reason, though.
But that's one
But
reason.
I think there's that benefit happens as well. Is now all of a sudden I go watch a couple of them, and after watching a couple of them, I can bring Mom's Buick. Throw Mom's Buick.
Let me tell you something. If there were a track like that back in the day, I probably would have taken Mom's Buick down there. Or she wouldn't have known.
Dad's Oldsmobile, but you got to clean the trunk out.
Yeah, there is that. Well, I tell you what, that's good for weight transfer in the back end.
Except all the stuff is transferring from side to side.
Not in your car. It's so jam-packed in there, it doesn't move. You kidding? You got to kind of move stuff around so you could close the trunk lid.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So we got him back?
Now, so I want to talk to you a little bit more about your Oldsmobile. Did you ever race that car?
No. Not.
Do you know any history about the car?
Little bit. I have my assumptions about the car because from what I can see,
is it a 70?
70. From what I can see, is it spent its whole life in Oklahoma until the guy bought it out of Oklahoma, and he took it to Dallas-Fort Worth, and then I bought it from him. But it looks like it spent its whole life in the Oklahoma area, and
no rust.
No rust. And looking at the car, living when I was working for Oldsmobile, the manufacturer's world, when you ordered a car, if I ordered a car for a company car, I'd load it up. Well, my car is relatively loaded up for a 70 model, factory air.
What's it missing?
The key.
The ignition switch at the moment. Power windows and locks. You know,
It's got crank windows.
It's got crank windows, but it's got factory cruise control. It's got the AM/FM 8-track.
Is the cruise control with that little bitty ball and chain thing
Vacuum?
up there?
Yep, the transducer.
Yeah.
It's got the two speedometer cables. One goes to the transducer
Yep.
on the fender, and then the other.
But you know, it was the bomb back in the day.
Yep.
And it worked fine.
Yeah.
You know, they worked fine. It wasn't as sensitive as they are here. You know, still get the cruise control. You still get about a 5-mile-an-hour variance in it, but it works. So.
Did it have factory air?
Yep. Mine's got factory air, and actually it still has the R11 or the R12 in it. It never was converted over to R134, and you can still buy R12.
Well, what is it, $1,000 an ounce?
No, it's about $25 a can is what I paid for it.
So what would the conversion cost you if you wanted to do that? Or would it devalue the vehicle? If you
I
converted
don't
it?
think it would devalue the vehicle. I think the big thing for the conversion is I have to change the condenser. The compressor isn't a problem with it. You got to get it all cleaned out, and then I'd have to change the condenser. So in an air conditioning system, the condenser is what changes the gas back to a liquid. So it condenses the refrigerant back to a liquid. And then the evaporator, which is inside the car, is where it turns from a liquid to a gas, and as it turns to a gas, that's what creates the cold, or that's what creates the heat absorption.
Cool.
It seems like it's just opposite of the way it should be.
Yeah.
Well, it condenses it under the hood, it expands it under in the dash. So, and it works.
I was alluding to something else, but nobody picked up on it. But that's okay.
No, because you just blame the dog.
Yep.
Exactly.
I didn't want to go there, but I knew.
See why didn't you want to go there?
Didn't want to go there.
Okay. Anyway, and we're going to have this later on in the show, but we always do a feature called the Racing Calendar, and I know that the Daytona stuff is coming up in January, and the only place that you would ever have any kind of an event in January would be Florida.
Right. So on
You don't have to do that whole thing.
I don't have to do
No. I was just saying that. Racing is kind of on hold across the country, except down in Florida.
Well, there's a lot of testing is going on right now, so
For all the different
different
categories
are testing. You know, F1's testing, IndyCar's testing, IMSA's testing, NASCAR's testing, NHRA is testing.
Tony Stewart is testing NHRA.
I saw that. I
Yeah.
saw that story.
And his new girlfriend, Leah Pruitt, is getting him involved.
Well, it doesn't surprise me. You know, he's, I guess, I don't know him to call him Smoke, but, you know, he's driven lots of different cars.
I heard that he is a total jerk.
I've heard that too, but then I've also heard that he's actually a pretty gregarious type personality.
I've met him a couple of times years ago with Oldsmobile when he was running IRL, which was before NASCAR, and he was the nicest person. I was there with Oldsmobile at the Indy 500 in '97, which was the first year the Oldsmobile engines ran, and walking through the pits, and he was the nicest person. He stopped and talked, but I think he was still becoming somebody at that point.
Let me ask you about that. Oldsmobile and racing and engines. So when the Oldsmobile brand went away, did they go away with the engines as well?
Yeah, and they just renamed them Chevrolets, in IRL. And
No, but okay. But as far as production engines were concerned, were they all common engines when Oldsmobile went away? Shared blocks and stuff like that for GM?
Depending on what racing series you were in IRL, which was the Indy Racing League, that was the Oldsmobile Aurora V8.
Right.
And that was relatively exclusive to Oldsmobile engine. A lot of shared technology with the Cadillac North Star, but a smaller version of it. And that was an exclusive engine to Oldsmobile. It wasn't used by anybody else.
Wasn't the Aurora like a takeoff or a type of model like the Riviera at the time from Oldsmobile to Buick?
Yeah,
the Aurora was like
they were shared platforms.
Cousin of the
Riviera
Buick,
was a 2-door. The Aurora was a 4-door.
Right.
And then Oldsmobile had the DRCE, the drag race competition engine, which was the 500-inch
Who was
aluminum. Oldsmobile. They built the DRCE.
Really?
And that was the Pro Stock motor of choice at the time.
Had been Warren Johnson.
Warren Johnson and that whole crew of Larry Morgan, Mark Powick, all those guys that were running Oldsmobiles back then. That was an Oldsmobile. And it was a derivative of a Mark IV big block Chevy that Oldsmobile took and
454.
Did all of their stuff to it to make a 500 cubic inch. And with that, in the alcohol category, Alan Johnson and Blaine Johnson did a supercharged alcohol injected version of that and were extremely successul.
Well, I guess that to wrap up this segment, all I can tell you is that head down to Motorsports Resort, or is it Motorsports Ranch? I think it's Resort.
No, I think it's Resort now.
Yeah.
It was Ranch. Now it's
keep
Resort.
It straight, but at any rate. Coming up, we're kind of behind schedule, so we're going to kind of move things around a little bit because we got a little wordy.
Squirrel.
Word. No, not squirrel. Just word.
Because we need to get Jeff's car review in, but it's not going to happen right now. Is that okay?
That's fine with me.
Because
whatever you got to do.
Okay. Because we're running behind, and, this show is cut up into podcasts. And if we go over a certain length, then the podcast doesn't really become a podcast anymore. It becomes another show. So if we can keep it within 30 minutes, I think that we're good. And that's why I'm kind of sitting here padding just a little bit of time because
to get the 30 minutes.
Yeah, and I'm having to move Jeff's car review. Yes, Mr. Mars, were you trying to say something?
Yes, I think we got.
Well, just a moment. Because you've been over there and all nice and quiet, and I just cut you off. What?
I know.
What was it that you're telling
So
me?
I think we've got James situated, but I thought we would, since we've got an issue with our other video at 9:52, I thought we'd bring James back for just a couple of minutes to wrap up.
Good idea.
But we seem to have all the technical issues corrected at the moment.
Okay, well, it only took us 30 minutes, but we got it, huh?
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go ahead.
Well,
What?
it's
It's not 9:52. It's 8:26.
So I'm
James
not-
will be back in a little bit.
Is it daylight savings time or East?
No, I think that there's been too much liquor served amongst the
Hello.
crowd here, and
Hello.
it's a little bit of a hangover, and nobody knows what the hell they're doing.
What was in
Well,
that breakfast?
there is that, but I'm afraid liquor's not involved in it.
What was in the
Yet.
breakfast this morning? There's something in the breakfast?
Yeah, probably. Some peyote or something.
But go to Houston Motorsports Resort today at 1 o'clock and watch the enduro racing.
Yeah.
It should be a hoot.
Yeah, if you're not
Be a
doing
lot of fun.
anything.
And the other fun thing about that is, you're not only at the track, you're in the pits. The only thing you have to do is watch out for cars that are moving around as they're going on and off track. One of the other things I noticed is if you make a pit stop, it's a 5-minute pit stop in the enduro racing. So all of the pit stops are 5 minutes long. So it gives you a chance to jump out and change drivers.
Yeah, that's what it is. All right. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back with more of the In Wheel Time program after a quick break. I want to remind you that our show streams on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Podcast, TuneIn, Google Podcast, Pandora, Amazon, and Podcast Addict. In Wheel Time Car Show continues right after this quick break.
TruckWorks is your go-to truck customizer. From mild-to-wild lift kits, custom wheels, and steering and handling enhancements to the best personal and commercial wraps, Texas TruckWorks delivers. Let Texas TruckWorks founder Scott Stevens help you get the most out of your truck or Jeep. Texas TruckWorks has decades of customizing experience, including power adders and complete engine swaps. Let the Texas TruckWorks team design an upgrade plan that fits your budget. Get truck attitude today at TexasTruckWorks.com. Is your business or company looking to stand out in a crowded advertising market? Looking to reach the real auto enthusiast? Well, you found it. You're listening or watching In Wheel Time, and so are your fellow enthusiasts. The In Wheel Time Car Show now reaches 500,000, and we can put together a marketing plan that will engage them in your product, business, or service. To get the tires rolling, just shoot us an email to our marketing director, Jeff Zekin. His address is jeff@inwheeltime.com. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's premier cruise-in, and you're invited to join in. Whether you're a cruiser or spectator, Tailpipes and Tacos is the place to enjoy made-to-order breakfast tacos, fresh coffee, and mingle with Houston's fun car people. Mark your calendar for Saturday, January 16th for Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupe Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Tailpipes and Tacos is free, and everyone is invited. You'll see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods all at one location. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a friends and family event. The Lupe Tortilla Mexican Restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 and Katy. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Lupe founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise in, Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, January 16th, 8 to 11 a.m. at Lupe's in Katy. The In Real Time Car Show will be there too. Get your ride ready, and we'll see you at the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise in, January 16th, 8 to 11 a.m. at Lupe's in Katy, weather permitting.
This is the award-winning Car Talk Show in Wheel Time, your weekly go-to all things automotive place, along with Mike Out of This World Mars and King Conrad DeLong, Jeff Zekin as well. I'm Don Armstrong. So glad that you could join us on this Saturday, the day after Christmas 2020. I'll be so glad when this year is over with. I think that me and everybody else is probably feeling about the same, don't you?
Yeah, please be the end.
It brings a new phrase to it brings a new meaning to the phrase in 2020 hindsight.
There you go.
Are you going to blame the dog for that?
Where is she?
You are just
Right down here.
She's down there.
Right down
she's
there.
down there. Just leave her alone.
Gosh.
This time.
Yeah, 1201 is going to be 2020 hindsight.
And that'll be good. Start a new year.
What a pain.
I know. It has been for everybody. Some people less so than others, and those that are struggling even harder than we are, and we feel for you. But we're looking forward to it, and we have Mr. Tomlin. Looks like he's there, ready to go, and another excursion in audio excellence.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Zoom excellence. Richard, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh,
well, we're
he's
good.
Got it right.
I see you're already at the office this morning.
Yeah, getting a couple last-minute things ready on 2 cars for the Enduro today at 1 o'clock.
Oh, you're going to go to that. Okay. Well, we just had the promoter at that event.
Yeah, we had some technical difficulties with James. We got a little slot. He's going to come back in about an hour and wrap up.
Sometimes Zoom just doesn't work for all of us.
Well, it's not the Zoom thing. It's when people put those little Bluetooth headsets in, it jacks with the signal and it messes us up. So anyway.
But we'll have that corrected. So you're bringing a couple of cars with you out there to the Enduro?
Yeah, we're taking 2 Miatas. We've got a friend coming down from Dallas to race with us. So we've got 2 Miatas. We'll have 8 drivers total out there playing today.
So what kind of Miatas? Spec Miatas?
Neither one of these are spec Miatas. One of them's pretty special. It's got a hairdryer on it. This is one that we take to Mexico and race. Miata makes about 210 at the wheels. It's caged for 2 people. This one's been driven into a boulder at about 80 mile an hour before, repaired, and it's a lot lighter weight than what the spec Miatas are.
And a lot more power.
A lot more power. And this event is a fun event. We don't care too much about the rules. Just come out here. Don't be hitting each other, costing everybody money. Let's go play and let's go race for 4 hours and put 2020 in the books,
So tell me about, now you're the regional executive for SCCA in this area. How would you grade the 2020 season for you guys, other than being difficult because of COVID?
It was, I can say this as far as membership and as far as growth, we are leading the country here in Houston. We're at over 10% growth. We're over 1,000 members now. We were at 860 this time last year, and we're just over 1,000 right now. So we've done something right, or we've changed how we're marketing, or people are just learning about us. So you're excited what 2021 can bring for us.
You're also just recently the president, though, or the head of this down here, aren't you?
This is starting year 2 for me.
Yep.
Correct. And
so
I've got a whole lot of people on the board helping me get this thing going.
You and your team deserve a lot of the credit for the growth. Then, do you think some of that might also be attributed to the fact that Texas hasn't put the ironclad on everybody down here? That
there is a lot of that.
Yeah.
And our autocross program took it probably harder than I know it took it harder than the road race and our time trials program. But you got to think about an autocross. We're going to have 120 to 150 people together at one time. So we'll have stricter regulations on that type of gathering. Whereas if it's a small road race or a small track sprint time trial event, I may have 30 to 50 people, and it's a whole lot easier to manage there. So
yeah, it's the integrity of the organization too. I mean, he's been there 2 years doing that, and it's the class of people, the class of the event.
Yeah, well, and everybody taking responsibility in the time of COVID to do the right thing, and those people that you can ask to control themselves. So for you, the difference is a little bit of your racing. You tend to do a lot of that at Crescent and then at MSR versus your autocrossing that you do at Gulf Greyhound Park. Is that a fair?
Yep. So Gulf Greyhound Park, we do GGP, which is Grand Sport Speedway, a smaller facility in Hitchcock. We also used to race at the Houston Police Academy, but that's been taken off the board, of course. And that one's on indefinite hold. So we're seeing some contraction of number of sites we have access to run and cost of said sites, right? Because as more sites go away, others start increasing our pricing.
Because they can.
But do what?
Because they can.
Exactly. Yeah. Plenty of that going on right now, too.
So I want to learn more about this hot rod Miata that you've got there with 210 horsepower.
Well, what do you want to know?
Well,
go look at it?
You want to know if he wants to know if he can fit in the seat.
No, I'm not curious. I don't care about that.
Yeah, you said it seats too. Why don't you take somebody out? Take Don out for a ride and make him scream like a girl.
It does seat too.
Cage for two.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. We can turn this video around.
So this doesn't necessarily fit any class, does it?
No, this is we built it because we wanted to go race in Mexico and go play. Yeah, this is what a caged rally Miata looks like.
So it does have a top on it.
Yeah, so the top, you might think it's a top, but it's
it's solid.
A fiberglass replica of the top.
A fiberglass replica because
weight.
Because of weight savings.
Weight savings, and if you go to buy one of these factory hardtops, they're about $1,500. This one's only $700. So why go with the good stuff if you don't need it?
Got a few vents in that hood. That's not stock.
Yeah, not stock so much.
Is that just trying to cool the turbo?
Here in the grill. Let's see, you can get to there. No. Anyway.
I like the air inlet and the headlights.
Yep. So there's plenty of get the heat out of this. The hairdryer makes a ton of noise. There's no missing that it's actually a supercharged car for sure. As soon as it fires up, you know what you've got.
So how big is the turbo in this?
What size supercharger is that one? Do you know?
Is it a supercharger or a turbo?
Yeah, it's super.
It's a little Rotex. It's like the Rotex supercharger. C30? Yeah, so C30 is what they call it.
Well, I had no clue that they made a supercharger for that.
Well, they make a supercharger. It's just that's what Richard does for a living. He makes it fit that car. You know, the supercharger is basically a bolt-on, so he's just got to figure out a way to bolt it on and get the air through it and into the engine. Because, you know, again, an engine's just an air pump, and the more air you can put in it, the louder you can make it bang, and that's where the horsepower comes from.
Well, Conrad, something that you mentioned there that's kind of fun, too, we're working on right now is we've got a Honda Odyssey minivan that a friend of ours has started swapping a Accord 5-speed transmission into. So our hope is that by mid-January, we'll have our first manual Honda Odyssey van here.
Why?
Why not?
I feel responsible.
Van, Don. Come on. At one point, I'm sure you ran around in a van having a good time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was a 3-speed on the tree.
And a lot of carpet in the back.
Shag.
It was it was
on the ceiling and everything.
A Ford Econoline, I think. It had the big tray in the middle. I mean, the engine cover in the middle. We just used it to pick out stems and seeds. The car would rumble and rattle, and all the stems and
kind
seeds
of filter it out.
Yeah.
It's like a sifter.
I confess, I had a '77 GMC.
Richard has absolutely no clue what you're talking about.
And won't want to admit
Oh, yeah.
to it.
I had a Corvair ramp side. Come on, Don.
Oh, ramp side.
Don't you wish you still had that?
No.
Yeah. Sold that thing about 5 years ago now, and it's one I kind of wish I still had. It was very cool.
So you said you're bringing 2 cars out to the Enduro and 8 drivers. Is there any other support staff that comes out there with you, or are each of the drivers, the 4 drivers per car, is that basically your pit crew, or do you have some other folks show up?
It's kind of your pit crew. We'll have 1 mechanic going with us, plus myself, and I'm not that good of a wrench, but if something's broken, I can take it off and change it. It's a very low-key event, so today's more about having fun. I mean, it's still racing. There's still a trophy, don't get me wrong, but because it's for 4 hours, it takes a lot of things going your way before you're going to win that race.
Does your wife ever go with you to any of these events?
Man, she used to attend every one of them with me. And after like the first 12 years, when she realized it wasn't going to stop, she was out.
Yeah. So is she going to stay at home and bake today?
Twice a year now.
Yeah.
So how many fuel stops will it take you in a 4-hour race running these cars?
Well, like the B-Specs that James is going to be running today, they'll have 1 fuel stop. Most of the Miatas will be 2 to 3, depending on how aggressive they drive, because they just got a smaller fuel tank, and you're wringing the daylights out of a Miata to keep it up there in the hunt. B-Specs are still wringing them out, but it's 1.8, 1.5 liter motors. They just don't use as much gas.
And then with that, if I was reading the rules correctly, if you come into the pits, it's a 5-minute stop.
Correct.
And
or if you get a driver change, they're not concerned about that because they know you're going to come back for fuel anyway.
Okay. So you can get everything done. Will you also be throwing a set of tires on a car?
We hope not. We're running this event on what we call some scab tires, tires that we've used in a regular race. So the hope is that you can make them last the 4 hours, but if not, we've got a spare set of tires waiting.
And that
believe me, we're no NASCAR F1 team. It's going to be more than a 2-second stop for us.
So you alluded to the fact that there's a there's a timed stop for 5 minutes, but you can't change drivers and put gas in at the same time?
Yeah, you pull your driver out of the car, then you would fuel it, and then once the fueling is done, put your driver back in the car and drive away.
I see. Now, is that an SCCA rule or just a rule for this event?
That's best practice.
Best practice.
We're not equipped and won't have the individual fire team for each driver to be standing there with a hose on them.
Right.
So get yourself out of harm's way. Always play best foot forward on that respect.
What octane is the fuel, and how big is your crew to do this?
The ones we're running would just be 93.
Oh, so you're just running pump gas?
Yep, running. I mean, both of the cars we're taking, we will drive to the track today and race them, and bearing any issues, we'll drive them back home to the shop.
So when you talk about a fire crew, is that your crew, the other 3 people that go with you that are the servicing and fire crew?
We'll have our own crew that'll be there with a fire extinguisher while we're fueling, absolutely. But when you go to a larger event, they'll actually have a fire team sitting at the end of the pit lane, so that if anything were to happen, they've got larger equipment.
They're on top
site.
of it real quick, yeah.
Yep, save somebody.
And then, messing with gasoline is a little bit different than messing with alcohol. At least gasoline, you can see the flames.
Absolutely.
Alcohol is
nasty stuff, invisible flames. We don't want to play with that. I would mention, too, on the autocross you were talking about, January 3rd is our first one of the year, or January 2nd. Yeah, January 3rd, Sunday. First Sunday of the month is our autocross, and this one will be back at Gulf Greyhound Park, which everybody knows Gulf Greyhound Park is closed now, so pretty nice site. We're getting ready to do a bunch of sweeping and maintenance at the track, we hope, this year to bring it back up to our national standards. But we'll be there the first three months of this year. We'll be at Gulf Greyhound Park, first Sunday of the month. Come out and play. Dodge cones in a parking lot with us.
How much does it cost? Do I have to be an SCCA member?
You need to be an SCCA member, which is easy and gets you all kinds of additional benefits. You can actually join with a temporary weekend membership if you're fearful that it may not be for you. But the event itself is $35, and you'll get 6 to 7 attempts at the course.
It's not bad. $5 or $6. It's cheap adult entertainment.
And as long as nobody's
adult entertainment, it's a roller coaster, but you're actually driving a roller coaster. So,
and as long as there's no video, Don can bring his company cars, right?
Yeah, no video, no proof.
Actually, years ago, I did a couple of, I guess, solo 2.
Same.
And I took my company car, my GM company car.
Perfect.
And,
yeah. How'd you do?
Solo 2'd it. I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot of things. The biggest thing I learned was put a lot of air in those front tires and those front-wheel drive cars. Otherwise, you just roll the edge off. So I kind of went.
It'll destroy a front set of tires pretty quick if they're under pressure. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And when you show up, if you're a rookie, you should definitely ask them where the rookie walkthrough is. There's a rookie chief that will actually grab you by the hand, lead you through simple things like tire pressure, walking the course, knowing what time you work, where you report to, what time you're going to run, and the process. They'll just kind of hold your hand through the entire.
Yeah, we walked the course, but I didn't. I must not have been listening to the guy that was talking about.
Imagine that.
Because I absolutely destroyed these tires. I think we had like 4 or 5 runs through, and I didn't really.
You're probably not the first guy to do that.
I didn't really get to adjust the tire pressure till like the 4th run, and the car ran a whole lot better, but I had eaten up the tires.
Well, Richard, best of luck to you today with all of your endeavors out there at Houston Motorsports Resort down there in Angleton. And hopefully we'll be in touch with you here in the next couple of weeks to talk about the autocross events.
And we invite all of our followers to join the SCCA, get out there and bring Mom's Buick and take a spin around the track. It's a great experience, not only just to have fun driving, but to learn, because a lot of these people that go to these events, they're happy to talk to you about what you need to do, how you need to see what you're driving through, because you're not looking at the turn you're making, you're looking at the next turn or the next turn after that.
Looking ahead, yeah.
It's a good learning experience that you can get from one of these events.
All right.
We've had a good bit of the Dodge Scat Pack guys showing up too. Those cars are moving pretty quick around the course as well.
Richard, thanks again. Take care of yourself. Good luck today, and we'll see you soon.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, Richard Tomlin, SCCA Regional Executive, and also the head honcho out there at Apex Auto Works, Motorworks, whatever it is. Anyway, time now for Conrad's Car Clinic. What are we talking about on the car clinic today, sir?
So last week, did you get up in the morning early and there was frost on your windshield? No, you weren't.
I didn't get up that early.
I was out of the house at like 6 o'clock, 6:30 in the morning, and we had a real good heavy frost, and the windshield had super heavy frost on it. Not quite ice, but it's close enough to ice.
Ice, baby.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about defrosting your windshield and the do's and don'ts of defrosting your windshield. One of the things I did was, I generally always do, the truck's the van's a turbo, so I usually start it up and let it warm up before I just throw it in gear and start driving away. But my truck's now 5 years old, and I drive in Houston, so what's on my windshield?
Motor oil after it's blown up for the second time.
Lots of rock chips on my windshield. So, all the little fisheye rock chips. And there was a couple of cracks in the windshield, small cracks in the windshield as well. So I fire the truck up. And when I do it, I just turn the heater off so there's no air blowing anywhere. And the truck came up to temperature. I turn the defroster on, turn the heater to high, and going to go ahead and melt the windshield.
And that crack ran from one end to the other.
All of a sudden, I look at my windshield, and it looks like a road atlas. You'd buy it at the Texaco
You might
station.
as well have gone ahead and thrown a bucket of water on it.
So one of the things you want to do with that is, if you can, is if you got a lot of cracks in your windshield, you don't want to put your defroster on super hot. You want to put your defroster on kind of a medium temperature and let it defrost. In Houston, it's not that big a deal. When you get up north, well, you're a Wisconsin boy. When you get way up north, it's a real issue because you have to clear ice off your windshield. But in Houston, you can actually clear your ice. You don't need to go out and buy an ice scraper. You just
They're only like $1. Why not?
Well, you can. I just use a credit card or a hotel key. The credit card and hotel keys. They do a real nice job. They clean the windshield real fast. Or you can spray de-icer on your windshield. Now down here, you might or might not want to carry de-icer with you. De-icer is super simple. You can make it at home. Your own little home brew of de-icer. Get a little 1-quart spray bottle. You put three cups of isopropylene alcohol. You can buy a bottle of it for about $1.50 at CVS. 1 cup of water, and about 4 or 5 drops of dish soap in it. Spray your windshield. It'll clear your windshield in seconds. Better living through chemistry. So because you can really damage your windshield if you're not careful by de-icing. The other thing you can do is your wiper blades, don't run them over the frost. Wait till it kind of softens it up and then run them over the frost. Because as you're running them over the frost, that ice is the frost is doing some damage to the surface of the wiper blades.
I always like to hit the windshield washers when I'm doing that.
And if you have washer solvent in your windshield washers, that'll work, because washer solvent, the blue stuff, has a certain amount of isopropyl alcohol in it as well, because they use that to try and get the windshield to dry better. Well, that alcohol is going to do what it needs to do on the windshield to try and help clean the windshield. So, but you always want to clear your windshield before you start driving. You know, you don't want to be that little dweeb out there that's got this little bitty hole in the windshield, and they're looking out this little bitty hole waiting for the rest of the windshield to clear.
While they're on their phone.
While they're on their phone, driving through the neighborhood, and the kids are out running to get to the bus stop. So you want to definitely clear your windshield completely before you get on down the road. It doesn't really take that long in Houston, because generally all you're trying to clear down here is frost, not heavy ice. But the don't things to do is and we'll get ice every now and then down here. Don't get out there and start chipping the ice off of it
with a screwdriver.
Don't throw hot water on it, like Don was saying. It may clear the ice, but you're going to damage your windshield. You got to remember, in a windshield, the windshield itself is 2 pieces of glass. You have an outer layer, a plastic layer between, and an inner layer. And the reason your windshield cracks from throwing hot water on it is the outer layer expands because of the heat, and the inner layer doesn't, and that's where you get the cracks in the windshield.
Might I interject something?
Please do.
Free up your wiper blades first.
Well, if you can, kind of lift them up at night. If you know you're going to get a good freeze or a good ice layer, lift them up at night.
Who does that? Only you would do that.
Well, if I grew up in New York, I did it all the time.
We never do that here.
So
we have them stuck. We haven't replaced the rubber part of the wiper blade in 2 years.
Right.
And then you hit the go button,
and it goes, and then it stops working.
That's
Your
how
wipers
you can
never
scrape the
work.
ice. Use that to scrape the ice.
The rubber sticks to the windshield,
Yes,
and
it
then you
does.
wind up scratching it with the actual metal part of the
Or
wiper.
you break your wiper motors, because your wipers are designed to move. They're not designed to feel the stress of not moving.
Okay, we about done with this?
Yep. So winter brings a new set of challenges as you're driving your car and defrosting the windshield. Be careful. It can be quite expensive if you start cracking your windshield, because now I'm going to have to put a windshield in my van, and I'm trying to.
He's already put a motor in it.
Twice.
Yeah. No, I've only put one motor in it.
All right. Thank you, sir, very much. Time now for this hour's car review. And we're running a little bit behind on the car review. We're sorry about that, Jeffrey. But
it's okay.
Jeffrey has our pre-owned car of the week, and that is the 2016 Mercedes-Benz E-Class Wagon.
Yep.
And this was an E63?
E63.
That's a hot rod wagon.
Yeah, oh yeah. I did this for 2 reasons. One, I like wagons, and we got into the wagon discussion earlier. And 2, Conrad is a Mercedes kind of guy. His wife,
she drives
Mercedes kind of girl.
And I'm a huge wagon fan. I love wagons. I think that they're
and
cool.
Vans, and you talked about the shifter and the minivan. Oh, we digress. 2016 Mercedes-Benz E-Class wagon, E63. It's a sport luxury wagon. It's got a lot of luxury. It's got a lot of power. It's a cool vehicle. It's a 5-passenger. Changes, minimal design changes, some fascia designs, slight body changes. Look at that rascal. That is pretty neat. That looks like it's going fast right now, even with the wheel designs and such. So the exterior, you got different mirror designs. Exterior carbon fiber. There is carbon fiber on some of the rocker areas, the bumper areas, the fascia areas. They've got lane-changing packages, much like they have now in the current vehicles. Riding on some 17s, 18s, and 19s, you've got that choice of the sizes of the rims, and you got 245, 45 17s, up to a 285, 30, 19.
Oh, wow.
And they're all run flats.
I like the look of the exhaust on the back of that.
as well.
That's pretty cool.
I do as well. But they're all run flat, so you got a little bit stiffer ride on the tire side of it, but you've got a stiffer suspension as well. So that kind of complements each other. Dual interior on the interior side of it. You've got dual interior airbags. You've got auto delay headlamps. You've got pre-collision safety systems, which I think is pretty cool. That's most have that now, where the car either slows down or stops.
Or brakes.
Or it brakes, exactly. AMG sound camera package. Now, I've tried to investigate some of this. It's just an audio for the camera. It's basically what it is.
And it's a beautiful dash.
It is. That's a good cockpit right there. Moving on to this, you've got a 5.5-liter V8, 32-valve. You can get it in a V6, but that wouldn't be the performance. 577 horsepower at 5,500, and you got 590 foot-pounds of torque at 2,000, which is a pretty low RPM. 32 valves on that. 7-speed. 7-speed automatic manual, which is on the steering wheel shifter panels. 15 miles per gallon on the city, 21 highway, 18 combined. And
Mike Mars got 11.
Mike Mars got 11. Jeff probably got 11 too. Nevertheless, in moving on, I know we're a little bit short of time, so I'm just going to go on to the last part of it. We talked about the Magnum is in that class as well, the Dodge Magnum, and also the Cadillac CTS Wagon as well. If you want to hold that shot, there's a little bit of thing on the logo.
Oh, Lord. Here we go with the logos
The first edition of the logo, word Mercedes, surrounded by an ellipse. There's no handshaking. Appeared in the cars manufactured by Daimler in its predecessor in 1902. After a while, the company introduced the new brand logo in 1909, glorious of 3-star points, and that's what you see there, the 3-star points. The technical director of Dutz Gottlieb Daimler designed it, and he actually sent the design to his wife in a postcard in 1872 and explained to her that this was going to be a world-leading logo for the manufacturer. He created it, and he said it's going to be a perfection of a vehicle. So the 3 points stood for Mercedes dominance over land, sea, and air. That's what those 3 points mean, because they were in the military, they were in water vehicles or ocean vehicles, and they were in obviously
cars. They built engines for all three.
Exactly. And it's an emblem to be put in a circle with the little stars of the circumscription, which is around there, the Mercedes-Benz circumscription Mercedes, and it's border, but they spell border differently in Germany. Right. So that actually became available in 1916, the circumscription.
Circumscription. Okay, well, I'll have to remember that if I can. Thank you, sir.
Like the rabbi said, it won't be long now. Sorry.
But I'm bummed.
We are.
Okay, so there's that. A couple of stories before we break for the top of the hour. In a bet that digital retailing will continue to accelerate in a post-pandemic world, Nissan will roll out a nationwide online shopping platform by this spring. The service, Nissan at Home, will enable consumers to shop for a vehicle, schedule test drives, complete the paperwork for a purchase, including credit approval and finance and insurance options, and take delivery without ever having to step inside of a dealership. Sorry. I keep trying to shut everybody else off, but I apparently am not doing a very good job of it. Nissan expects the majority of its retailers to sign up for the program. There's a cost. It was a response to a generation of shoppers who buy everything from shoes to smartphones with the click of a button.
So buy your Altima from Amazon. Well, almost.
Kind of. A U.S. regulator ruled Wednesday that Mahindra and Mahindra Limited's new design for its Roxor off-road vehicle did not infringe the intellectual property rights of Fiat Chrysler Automobile's Jeep brand 6 months after barring the sale of older models. Trade dress consists of the unique characteristics that make a product stand apart and is generally accepted as identified with that product by the public. For example, FCA sees the Jeep Wrangler's boxy body shape, 7-slot grille, and round headlights as distinct to the brand. Mahindra said that the 2020 model was refreshed and changed to avoid the issue. But the commission did not decide at that time whether the newer model and subsequent versions infringed Jeep's trade dress. The Roxor is assembled, believe it or not, in Auburn Hills, Michigan, with the same place as FCA.
Did you see pictures of it?
I did.
This looks like a mini Jeep, like no other thing is a mini Jeep, like a little
Well, yes, but now that they've changed the grille and some other things, it doesn't look.
And this isn't the first time Jeep has sued somebody, because they sued Hummer over it years ago.
Yeah, it's true. All right, well, that's it for this hour of the In Wheel Time Car Show. Coming up next, we have more of our car show, so we invite you to stay with us.
Is your business or company looking to stand out in a crowded advertising market? Looking to reach the real auto enthusiast? Well, you found it. You're listening or watching In Wheel Time, and so are your fellow enthusiasts. The In Wheel Time Car Show now reaches 500,000, and we can put together a marketing plan that will engage them in your product, business, or service. To get the tires rolling, just shoot us an email to our marketing director, Jeff Zekin. His address is jeff@inwheeltime.com. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's premier cruise-in, and you're invited to join in. Whether you're a cruiser or spectator, Tailpipes and Tacos is the place to enjoy made-to-order breakfast tacos, fresh coffee, and mingle with Houston's fun car people. Mark your calendar for Saturday, January 16th for Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Tailpipes and Tacos is free, and everyone is invited. You'll see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods all at one location. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a friends and family event. The Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 and Katy. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Lupi founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise in, Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, January 16th, 8 to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy. The In Wheel Time Car Show will be there too. Get your ride ready, and we'll see you at the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise in, January 16th, 8 to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy, weather permitting.
From Studio A in Texas, USA, it's the award-winning all things automotive car talk show, In Wheel Time. Just ahead, a review of our new car of the week, the 2021 Infiniti Q50S. A look at the 2021 racing calendar. We begin our new series from Ryan Ainsley and his car adventures, and we'll also have the stories making auto news headlines this week. That and more just ahead on today's In Wheel Time car show for Saturday, December 26th, 2020. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars, King Conrad DeLong, Jeff Zekin a little bit off camera over there. I'm Don Armstrong, just a little bit off his rocker.
Off kilter.
Off kilter, always. So thank you very much for joining us this day after Christmas. And now we look forward to
a new year. Let's put 2020 hindsight.
Good Lord. Let's do that, shall we?
Yep.
So Mr. Mars is going to cue me when our guest is ready, and we will go from there. I am glad that we are moving now toward 2021. I mentioned earlier, and I think our pre-show, that I have been approved to get my COVID shot on New Year's Eve, this coming Thursday.
Nice.
So I'm kind of excited about that, so I can get on with my life.
Can I pay to watch?
You can. You can.
So is this you just go into the clinic, or is it a drive-through, or what's the deal?
No, I go to my doctor's office.
And he just gives you the shot?
Yeah. They're the ones that contacted me. I thought that it would probably be
It's because you're on the list.
February, March, April before I got mine. Oh, no. Yeah, I'm on the list. By no fault of my own.
But you're behind, Sheila Jackson Lee got hers before you got yours.
Well, she ranks and I don't.
Well,
but please continue.
no, I don't think I'll go there. I'll just leave that be. I was amazed that the politicians thought that they were essential workers. And I'll let everybody else join in on that on Facebook.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised at that myself. Who cares?
Well, I'm interested that you're ready to take the shot, that you're ready, willing, and able to jump in and take the shot. I guess nobody's contacted me about it, but I don't know that I'd take it right off the bat. I think I'd wait a little bit, and I'll watch you and see how you evolve.
As I crumple to the floor.
Well, how's your back? Talking about crumpling to the floor.
Actually, my back is doing much better. And for those that don't know, I had back surgery 3.5 weeks ago. And it has been a brutal recovery.
Yeah, well, the last couple of weeks you were in pain. I haven't really noticed you gimping around very much.
It still reminds me that it's there, but it's doing much better.
I know you're not taking any kind of pain meds.
No, I haven't taken really any pain meds. I don't do good with pills.
Good for you.
Yeah, I really don't. One of the things
they have pain meds they can give you as a suppository.
I'm sure that they do, but I'll refrain from that for now anyway. I've refrained from that for all of my life so far, so we'll just kind of leave it at that.
Well, I'm glad the back's healed, and
it's not healed completely, but it's on the mend.
And you're on the list to get your COVID
shot.
I won't go there. Do they do any?
That's why his mic's not on, because I don't want to know.
Do they do any pre-med workup on you before they give you the shot, or you just go get the shot?
I have absolutely no clue. I'm scheduled to go get it next Thursday at 8:30 in the morning. And if I don't show up here back at the Studio A on next Saturday, you'll know that it didn't go so well.
At the Smoke and Mirrors studio. You'll do fine, Don.
I think I will. I'm actually kind of looking forward to it.
And then what does that allow you to do?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing, because it's only part 1 of 2.
But you still have to mask. You still have to social distance. Yeah. You still got to do all the things they're telling you to do.
But I don't have to worry as much about getting it. I mean, I'm still going to take all the precautions, but I won't have to worry as much, I don't think.
Because of the vaccine. Well, hope that's the intent. And they say it's about a 95% efficacy.
So my daughter, Katie, who lives in Denver, was unable to come home for several reasons. One is getting on an airplane with everybody else. Did you see the crowds at the airport?
Yeah.
That's not a good thing. And there's
I
that.
flew over Thanksgiving, and the planes were full.
Katie's mother was exposed to COVID, so there was another reason for her not to come down here.
Understood.
And Dad's still working, so what am I going to do?
Avoid any possibility of being exposed.
It's not that. It's the fact that I couldn't spend any time with her. I'm working.
Oh.
Yeah, so she decided we'll just stay up here and wait a couple more months, which was kind of sad.
But she got a chance to go snowboarding.
Yes, she's working on her snowboarding techniques.
Skills.
Yes. So, at any rate, we were supposed to have Lonnie Ford from Lone Star Throwdown.
We got Lonnie. We can't get Todd.
Well, let's talk to Lonnie and see if Todd can work
Lonnie, it's good to see you. What are you doing? You're looking good.
Same old thing. How you guys doing?
Well, we're doing fine. Is your beard grown, or is that a mask that's pulled down below your mouth?
No, it's the beard.
Is it the beard? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
So can you fold it? Can you fold it up and make it look like a mask?
Yes, he can.
Well, let's see. It's the start of a new year, and we have Lonnie and Todd on the show. I wonder what they're going to talk about.
I don't know, but we've got some sort of a funky thing going on there where we see.
Well, we got 2 of them. We need to just go to
Todd might
just go to the single until Todd comes on.
So Lonnie, let's talk about Lone Star Throwdown. I didn't show them both on at this segment anyway. I think that Todd is going to be on at a different time, but whatever the case may be. So Lonnie, Lone Star Throwdown. This is typically a January event, and
It's a February
event. My apologies. A February event. Is it still on?
Yep, still on as of now.
How did you manage to escape all of the close downs of public events?
We're still not there yet. You know, we're February 26th to the 28th.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Of 2021, and we're considered an outdoor event. So we just have the guidelines through the state, whatever they require at that time. You know, right now we can't really say what it's going to.
In an adventure in audio.
So as we continue with this escapade here with the Zoom, let me just go ahead and pound my head on the table.
So how involved have you guys been with the county judge and stuff about Lone Star? Because you guys have a huge draw. You know, are you still expecting about 2,000 vehicles this year registered?
Yep, we're almost to the 2,000 right now.
And have you guys had much conversation with the state about it, or is it they're just trusting you to follow the guidelines?
Yeah, it's whatever the guidelines are going to be at that time. I mean, we can only go by the state's guidelines. It's Montgomery County, so whatever the county is going to, follow at that time is what we're going to have to do. So we're willing to do whatever we have to do to make the event happen.
Do you have to put up hand sanitizing stations as county rules?
It's not really a county rule, but we're going to do it just to
do the right thing.
Yeah, do the right thing. We're going to try to get people to, don't come if you're sick. If you're feeling well, then it's good. And at that time, whatever the guidelines are, we're gonna follow whatever they want us to do.
So are you sold out again?
We're almost sold out. So that's show vehicle registration, which is almost sold out. But our deadline is the 31st, so we only got another week. But we only got around, 80 to 90 spots left as we speak right now on vehicles.
And what's the max number?
2,000.
2,000.
Wow.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So
2,000 entries. That's a lot of entries.
Yep.
Yeah, 2,000 show vehicles.
And where can people go if they haven't registered and they still want to register and collect one of those last 70 or 80 spots you got left?
You can go to LoneStarThrowdown.com, and it's on our website. You can register the vehicle right there. And I would suggest if you want your vehicle in the show, you definitely have to do it. We don't do no registration at the event. It's all online.
Well, for those people that don't know, let's explain to everybody that doesn't know, what is the Lone Star Throwdown?
It's a car, truck, and bike show.
Yeah.
All custom vehicles of any kind.
And it is
hot rods.
Yeah, and it is outdoors, and it's at the Conroe Convention Center.
Yep, it's at the Conroe Lone Star Expo Center, and we take up pretty much every piece of property that they got up out there.
Right up off of 45 up there. It's right across the street from the Conroe Regional Airport. So it's easy. It's an easy drive for everybody in Southeast Texas. But you also have entries from pretty much all of the United States and Canada, do you not?
Yep, we have some from Mexico, Canada. Not really sure how those guys are going to do it this year because of the border stuff. But pretty much the whole United States, we got almost every state with a vehicle coming from it.
Wow.
Yeah. And, one of the things that we're going to talk to Todd about is that, you guys, both you and Todd, have vehicles, not to enter into the Lone Star Throwdown, but you guys really are enthusiasts yourselves.
You have a
Absolutely.
collection of toys.
Yeah, we've been since we were kids.
Yeah. So what is it that what do you have?
I have right now a 1975 Ford F100. It's right there, one picture of it.
That's very good. That's very good.
Yeah, very nice. And
it's on a fully custom chassis, running 24-inch billet wheels, and the rear has 24 by 15s. Has a 440 cubic inch dart block. So it's a fun little truck.
Yeah, and you've got a lot of dough invested in that, my friend.
Yeah.
Don't tell his wife.
She's standing right there beside him, helping him with it.
Yeah, because he's afraid she's going to sell it for what she thinks he's paid for it, right?
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
But
No.
but you've done a lot of the work yourself as well as contracted certain stuff out.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the frame and stuff like that, I definitely couldn't do.
Right.
You get other people that are a little bit more,
skilled
farther
at
advanced. Yeah, that have the equipment and everything else. That's it's always one of those things that you want to do yourself, but it's having the the tools, just the time and the craftsmanship.
And then
shops, man, they've been around for years.
Right. And then the only way to get it to lay down as low as you have it is custom framing. That you couldn't get that low with a factory frame. You've got to.
Well, not only that year Ford's got an I-beam type front suspension on it.
Yep.
And that's serious business to try and do anything with.
You don't still have I-beam on it though, do you?
No, it's a custom-made upper and lower control arm. Actually, when I first started building this truck, I didn't want to use any GM parts. So I used a 2000 Expedition spindle and had custom-made upper and lower control arms for it because I wanted to use all Ford, off of some type of year model Ford parts on it for the suspension.
And it's air suspension or is it hydraulics?
No, it's airbags.
And then how? Because I could see in that photo, it's scraping. I guess that's the phrase you use.
Yeah.
And how high?
It has a full AccuAir air ride system on it.
And how much articulation or how much vertical height can you get with the airbags on it?
I can get it enough to clear the wheel so I can turn and drive it and do whatever I need. I mean, it probably gets 12 to 14 inches of lift.
Oh wow. And that's the fun thing about going to Lone Star Throwdown, you know, because just watching the vehicles drive by, because for our listeners and our followers here, it's you have to drive to judging there. So your vehicle can't just be a trailer queen. You have to drive it to judging, and certain places you can kind of hang out and you watch everybody that drives to judging come by, and you can kind of check out the lowered vehicles, the raised vehicles, the loud vehicles, the fast vehicles, and to a degree the slow vehicles. But I'll tell you, some of those trucks, I wonder, how do you get up into some of those trucks that are, you know, lifted 18, 20 inches off the ground? It's amazing. And then I know the one guy came by and literally the truck lowered itself from about 18-inch lift down to the ground with the articulated suspension. It's amazing the technology people bring to those kinds of show vehicles that show up at the Lone Star Throwdown.
Lonnie, one of the things I wanted to ask you is, how does the judging, the drive-by or drive-through judging work? I mean, do you have an allotted period of time that the judge has to go over the vehicle?
No, we really leave it up to the individual, the car show person. If they don't want to have it judged when they first get to the show, they can, we judge Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So it's left up to them when they want to get it judged. Some guys, they drive these vehicles. So once they get there, they want to have time to get them detailed and cleaned and then take them through judging. So judging is all up to the individual when they want to get it judged.
But when they're in the judging station, how long does the judge have to judge the vehicle?
It's left up to the judge. If he's looking at a car and it's really extensive, I mean, it can take, however long it takes for him to look at everything. And we give each individual gets to talk to the judge. Maybe they have something that they want to show the judge. We allow all of that so that, it kind of gives a bond between the judge and the person to kind of show the vehicle.
Well, this is a very unique situation. I mean, I don't believe I've ever been to a cruise-in or a car show of any kind that is like Lone Star Throwdown.
In motion.
Yeah, it really is an in-motion show. Yes, there are some static displays and there are some static portions of the show, but for the most part, everything is on the move in there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it gets a little hectic sometimes where the cars are, all kind of bundled up with how many people that we have at the event. But, for the most part, a lot of the cars, they're driving around and then they find a place to park, and then it's just kind of a park show.
Well, it's so unique, and it's a great event. Now, how long have you and Todd been doing this?
This will be our 10th year, so this is our 10th anniversary.
Yep. Yeah, 10th anniversary.
It's crazy to think something that we just wanted to do, and Todd and I have been doing this for a long time since we were kids, and just wanted to do a show because we go to so many of them, and never dreamed that it would turn out the way that it has the past 10 years. I mean, because it started from nothing, and
you guys
the past few years have just been where we have to, limit the amount of vehicles coming into the show.
And you guys are one of the most attended shows around, and I would assume this year you may be the most attended show because you're in Texas and we're still open to a large degree. So people coming and going, I think, will have a better opportunity at Lone Star than they will some of the other states around the country.
Yeah, the shows that have happened this year, we as well as Lone Star Throwdown, we do garage gear clothing.
Right.
And we go to a bunch of, events. And this year, probably half the events have gotten canceled, but the ones that have happened, they're quadrupled in attendance. The show was really good.
Yeah, it's back to a supply and demand. You got less shows to go to, so more people end up going to them. And
I think people are just ready to get out. So it's
absolutely
it's one of those things. As a show promoter and a vendor at some of these shows, it's kind of it tugs at you a little bit because you feel bad for the people that can't have the event that gets canceled because what goes into the show, the amount of money and the time for it just to get canceled and not get another date.
One of the issues that you had year before last was the fact that your food trucks were kind of overwhelmed, and you dealt with that and actually did twice as many food trucks and seemed to get that under control. So I guess each year you learn something new, huh?
Every year we learn something new. I think that's something that we never, we always never say that we got it under control because we learn something every year.
well, I mean, that's just the way that it is. But that's one nice thing about your show is that you evolve the show every year, add things, take some things that weren't successful away, and keep refining it to the point where it runs smoother and smoother every year. And believe me, I know from experience myself that after shows that I've attended, some of them learn, some don't, and you guys seem to have it down quite well.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you want the participants to have a good time and the showgoers. I mean, the guys that are bringing these trucks from all over the country, you want them to have a good time. So you listen to what they want and what they don't want, and then you try to make a happy medium.
Lonnie, what are the dates again?
It's going to be February 26th through the 28th, 2021.
Okay. And how much does it cost to get in if you're just spectator?
We only sell weekend bands, and they're $20, and it's good for all 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Makes it simple. Yeah, and I know that parking for spectators is kind of at a premium, so get there early and stay late.
Yeah, definitely.
Lonnie, it's always great to talk to you.
I appreciate you guys.
Well, we appreciate you too, and we hope to see you at the end of February, okay?
Absolutely.
Take care of yourself, man. Be safe.
Be safe.
Stay healthy.
All right. Merry Christmas, guys.
Yeah, you too.
Happy New Year.
Lonnie Ford, Lone Star Throwdown, February 26th through the 28th up there at the Conroe Expo Center, Convention Center, Rodeo Arena, right? Just look it up. LoneStarThrowdown.com.
Just spit it out.
Yeah. Let's remind everybody that if you'd like to get in touch with us, shoot us an email. The address is info@inwheeltime.com. Time now for this hour's car review. Mr. Mars had a chance to drive the new Infiniti Q50X. I don't know, why did you get a chance to drive the Infiniti? They won't loan me any. They already turned me down, said, no, we ain't going to give you one. I said, okay, fine. You want to be that way? I can be that way too.
Okay.
So be sure and put that. Be sure when you send this review out to Infiniti, be sure and include that on there.
That they did not include.
Yeah. How come you got one and I didn't?
Okay. So count to three.
1, 2, 3.
Great. Now I got an edit spot. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the 2021 Infiniti Q.
The one that Infiniti won't let me have.
Red Sport 400 all-wheel drive. Now, when you're talking about the Q50, you're really talking about a compact luxury sport sedan. It's kind of a crossover between the luxury and the sports segment because of the way that they're configuring the engine and stuff. So the Q50 actually comes in 4 trim levels, the Pure, the Luxe, and then you get the Red Sport 400 with a new, for this year, new trim package called the Century. And it's really kind of more on the luxury side, so we're going to stay over on the sports side. Now, the last major update to the Q50 was back in 2014. So it's kind of, you might think it's kind of updated, but it really doesn't. It looks very modern still. Got the large grille up front, the LED headlights and fog lights that kind of go around all that. It's got some nice curvy body lines to it that flow into the power heated side mirrors and it's just got a nice classic look to it that fits in with what everybody else is doing now. So it was kind of ahead of its time. Got the rain-sensing wipers out front. We got the power moonroof, and we were rolling on the optional 19-inch aluminum wheels. So again, with the modern, stylish lines that it's got, it's very, very contemporary. Now you get on the inside of it, you're going to see that this model we had the semi-aniline leather. Now, you may say, what is a semi-aniline leather?
I think that's aniline.
Aniline?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Could be aniline, but I think it's aniline.
So the difference, so it's very similar to a full aniline, but it has a protective color layer on it. I had to go figure out what that was. So anyway, because this is kind of straddling the lines between luxury and sport, we've got the sports seating inside of it. It's got a very nice sports-style front seat. 60/40 is a rear folding seat. And it's got a carbon fiber trim package on the inside of it that goes real well with the sport concept.
Is that an upgrade to the car? That's
part of the Red Sport.
Part of the Red Sport.
And one thing I liked because in the technology of it, of course, we had the Bose 16-speaker audio system with the Apple CarPlay and the audio, and it's all part of the Infinity InTouch with the dual displays that you can see on there. And I liked this particular one because you could work in one, and the other one was more of a display, so it wasn't like you had to use both of them.
Kind of cleans the dash up having dual displays.
It does, and like I said, this one I liked because it was very workable. And it also had rear seat charging ports, which is very important. I'm telling you, the older I get, the more important that kind of stuff gets. Now, the cool thing is up under the hood, it had a 3.0-liter twin-turbo V6. Now, the standard engine is 300 horsepower. We had the 400, so we had the 400 horsepower, 350 pound-feet of torque, backed by a 7-speed automatic transmission. They're all backed by the 7-speed automatic transmission. Now, the EPA says in the city you should be looking for about 19 miles per gallon. Now, on the Highway 26, combined, you should get about 22. Now, this is the Red Sport with 400 horses, Jeff. Note that.
Yep.
Notice he says it to you and won't say anything to me about
Well,
it.
they won't let you drive the car.
Yeah, so
I know that they won't let me drive.
I'm paying
it.
attention.
Yeah, Jeff's paying attention. So I only got about 20.
I'm hanging on every
But
word.
we really did a lot of research
It'll
on
be
this
my
vehicle
only
because
chance.
it'll go 0 to 60 in approximately 4.5 seconds, which is pretty quick.
That's pretty
for
quick.
a sport sedan. And it also had one of the great things about driving with it had the dynamic digital suspension. So this is actually a system that adjusts the damper settings on it as you're going down the road, rough, going into the curves or whatever. So it kind of really takes care of the ride very nicely. If you're looking for something to compare it to, you might look at an Audi A4, a Lexus ES, or maybe even a BMW 3 Series. You can get a base Q50 front-wheel drive for $36,600.
It's not bad.
Now, you want to step up to an all-wheel drive version of the Red Sport 400 all-wheel drive, which, again, was the top of the line. The base price for this vehicle is going to be $57,750. Now, you're going to add in, we added in a few options, and the charging ports, rear charging ports, the wheels, things like that. And it bumped it up to $61,890
Wow.
MSRP as tested for a luxury sport sedan that Don can't drive.
I was living on every word that you said because they won't let me drive it. So
Well, they
I
will.
tried to let you live vicariously through me.
and it didn't work, did it?
Well,
At any rate, but thank you very much for trying. Time now for this hour's racing calendar. Now, I know that it is the day after Christmas, but Conrad, through all of his deep research, has found some events coming up.
Well, you know, again, SCCA having the event today down at Motorsports Resort. That's always going to be fun. The Dakar Rally starts on TV on January 3rd.
Is it Dakar or Dakar or
Dakar, you know, but it's not there anymore. Dakar is in the Sahara Desert. This is now in Peru. They just kept the name of it, but it's the same.
That's a long
really
race.
intense. It's like 14 days each. You know, they've got 14 segments to it, and it takes them 14
They
days
race
to
from
run
the
it.
desert to Peru.
Yeah, well, there's huge deserts in Peru. And then the real racing
Machu
season
Picchu is there too.
That's at the top of the mountain. Then there's real race, not that Dakar isn't real racing, forgive me. But here in the States, the racing begins with the Roar at the 24. So that's at Daytona as they go into Speed Month at Daytona. And then on the 31st is the 24 Hours at Daytona. And then after that, the weekend after that, on February 2nd or 7th is the Daytona qualifying weekend, and then Thursday the 9th is Clash at Daytona, the dual Daytona qualifying rounds, and then February 14th is the Daytona 500 as they roll into the racing season, and then everybody else kind of starts up in March. IndyCar is at St. Petersburg, Florida. On the 5th of March, Australian Grand Prix, which was canceled last year due to COVID, is going to be the 18th of March, followed on the 25th by the Bahrain Formula One race. The Gator Nationals is March 28th, which is the first NHRA event of the year, which is kind of odd because generally the first event was always the Winter Nationals in Pomona, and they're praying that California opens up in time.
Oh, sure, they're going to do that.
Texas Truck Works.
Sorry.
Yeah, and so the way NHRA is set is March 14th is the Gator Nationals, March 28th is Atlanta, and then April 11th is the Winter Nationals, whether it opens up or not.
So Daytona's on Valentine's Day.
All right, thank you, sir. The In Wheel Time Car Show streams on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Podcasts, TuneIn, Google Podcasts, Pandora, Amazon, and Podcast Addict. The In Wheel Time Car Show continues right after this quick break.
Texas Truck Works is your go-to truck customizer. From mild-to-wild lift kits, custom wheels, and steering and handling enhancements to the best personal and commercial wraps, Texas Truck Works delivers. Let Texas Truck Works founder Scott Stevens help you get the most out of your truck or Jeep. Texas Truck Works has decades of customizing experience, including power adders and complete engine swaps. Let the Texas Truck Works team design an upgrade plan that fits your budget. Get truck attitude today at TexasTruckWorks.com. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's premier cruise-in, and you're invited to join in. Whether you're a cruiser or spectator, Tailpipes and Tacos is the place to enjoy made-to-order breakfast tacos, fresh coffee, and mingle with Houston's fun car people. Mark your calendar for Saturday, January 16th for Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupe Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Tailpipes and Tacos is free, and everyone is invited. You'll see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods all at one location. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a friends and family event. The Lupe Tortilla Mexican Restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 and Katy. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Lupe founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise in, Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, January 16th, 8 to 11 a.m. at Lupe's in Katy. The In Real Time Car Show will be there too. Get your ride ready and we'll see you at the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise in, January 16th, 8 to 11 a.m. at Lupe's in Katy, weather permitting.
This is the award-winning Car Talk Show In Wheel Time, your weekly go-to all things automotive place, along with Mike out of this world Mars and King Conrad DeLong and Jeff Zekin over there. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad that you could join us today. Appreciate you being with us. So, as if we didn't have enough of Lonnie, apparently we've got more of Lonnie, and joining him is Todd Hendrix. Well, there's Todd.
That's Jimmy's brother.
That's Jimmy's brother. Hey, Jimmy's brother. So I thought that Lonnie was there too. No, am I wrong, Mars? You told me he was here.
Well, he was, and then I thought.
Well, that's okay. We'll talk to Todd. We've already talked to Lonnie.
Yeah, exactly. So put Todd back up there. Todd, it's so good to see you, my friend. How are you?
Birthday.
I'm sorry?
Happy belated birthday.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up.
And that's for all three of us, because Don and I are the 19th, and Mars is Christmas Eve.
Oh, okay. Well, happy birthday to all y'all.
And Jeff's got a birthday, but we don't really care where it is.
It's the perfect time of year for the three wise men.
Oh, that's why we have him on the show.
That was good.
That was good. So, apparently.
We'll use that in the commercials.
Yeah. So, we've already talked about Lone Star Throwdown. So, I thought that we would talk to you about your cars.
Okay.
You know, we've never talked to you about your cars that I could recall.
We have. We've, been in the studio.
Thank you. You had to call me out on that. I knew that you would say something like that and, tell me about how bad
you're
my
exactly
memory.
right. We've never talked about any vehicle that I owned before. In the 27 times we've been on.
That's right. The 27. Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks for joining us on this day after Christmas. I know that you guys are getting ready for the Lone Star Throwdown. But for you, we wanted to talk because you, sir, not only have one car, you have three, from what I understand.
There's a little more than that. But
I was
three
thinking.
Sounds good.
Okay, well, then you take charge and you just lead us into the garage and you just tell us what you got and we'll go from there. What's up first?
I've got two Volkswagen Bugs, two Isuzu Space Cab pickups, two Toyotas. Weird. I got two of everything, like I'm building an ark. Got to save everything.
And he's got two arcs.
I have a couple of 4Runners, actually. Yeah, it's getting weird. And I have an 04 Dodge Dually. I was actually set up outside, and I had the dually parked, but I couldn't get it all to work. So I'm in my wife's office with lipstick and everything else she sells behind me.
Oh, we thought maybe it was yours. But, yeah, no. I've seen the dually. I mean, it's dropped. It's black. I mean, it's really nice.
I took a picture this morning. I can find it on here.
And then are these all cars that are done, or are they in progress?
Yeah,
a bunch of them are in progress, except for this one. This one I can actually hop in and drive somewhere. I just don't.
Wow, cool.
Now the mini trucks, are they?
Which is where you started.
Yeah.
Yes,
Are they just stock restorations? I mean, are these you've got work done to these?
No, a lot of them already have work done to them, and they're in different stages. I have automotive ADD. I guess I buy something, I work on it, and then I find the next thing. Oh, I want to work on that one, and that one gets shoved aside, and then the other one gets worked on. So
you have a lot of projects.
A lot of squirrels.
So what do you have? A big, gigantic garage over there at the Hendrix compound that you keep all this stuff? You do?
I built a couple of garages, and I got some lifts in them that I can put them on, and then I got a 40 by 60 I built as well that I can work out of.
So in other words, if we need some help working on something, we just bring it over to your house, and you'll help us work on it.
Sure. I'll show you where all the tools are.
And that's why the clothing company is called Garage Guys, because it's a bunch of guys in the garage.
Yeah, perfect.
And I'm sure you have one of those are full of Garage Guys stuff, don't you?
Oh, that's actually, we've got all that in a storage down there by Lonnie on their end of the world.
Well, what part of town do you live in?
I live in Conroe.
Okay. So there's the Conroe connection. I got that.
Well,
now.
you just moved up there, last year, year before?
We built a house here a couple years ago, and it just happened to be we wanted some land to build a home on, and we found 4 acres out here and kind of paid it down to build the home on it.
Oh, good for you. Good for you.
Just kind of coincident.
Yeah. Now, what do you do something for a real living, or do you actually get out there and work the Lone Star Throwdown year round?
No, sir. I'm in a family business. We rent refrigerated trailers of different shapes and sizes.
I got you.
I'm a refrigeration technician, so I'm able to fix the big warehouse stuff.
Oh, wow. That's skilled, and that's also requires certification, if I remember correctly.
Yes, sir.
That's not just something any little gomer can do. You gotta know what you're doing.
A gomer.
Gomer.
All right.
All kinds of technical terms I'm learning today.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get back to the cars in the Hendrix collection.
Okay, what you want to know?
Well, we talked about the mini trucks, and we got to see do we have any pictures of the bugs?
Not really. No, oddly enough, I don't.
So what's special about the bugs? Why did you pick up 2 bugs?
Well, that was my 71 was my first car. My parents bought me, and oddly enough, it got wrecked, and then I ended up getting my Isuzu, so the bug sat there, and I still have it.
It's the one you got from 71.
Yeah, well, it's say that again.
I mean, it's not like you went and bought a 71 because you used to have one. It is the 71.
No, it's just my dad bought it, and I know how hard he had to work to pay for that thing, so it's just a sentimental car.
Sure.
And then I ended up getting a 57 oval, and I've always wanted one.
Oh, wow.
And so I got a hold of it, and it's just kind of sitting on the burner for now.
For us uneducated people, a 57 oval means that the rear glass is oval in shape, correct?
Yes, sir. It's smaller compared to the later models that have the bigger back window.
The big wraparound type.
And it doesn't have a 0 to 60 time because it can't get there.
No, they're pretty terrible.
It's got a calendar.
Little 1300cc gutless.
Yeah, but I'm surprised that you haven't pulled those out of there and modified them, souped them up, and made them, a couple hundred horsepower.
I want to. That's the plan.
But
I
he's
like
got
doing
too many
drag racing with it. I know it sounds silly, but that's what I want to do.
Too many other projects to work on. Well, what's the 57 weigh? It's got to be less than 2,000.
I think it's 1,550 pounds.
Oh my gosh,
weighs nothing. One of the most impressive things that I ever saw at the drag strip, and this is back in the day now, it had to have been a late 60s Volkswagen, and it appeared a little bit odd. It was lowered a little bit, but not slammed on the ground. And it had a odd-looking single exhaust pipe on it.
Stinger.
Stinger, which basically turned out to be headers. And I thought that this Volkswagen was the fastest thing on earth because it had a lot of engine modifications to it. I mean, that thing would fly. It would take off from the starting line like no tomorrow, like a top fuel dragster. Boom, it's gone,
Because
man.
there's no weight.
There was no weight.
And probably decent traction because the little bit of weight that is, it's all in the back anyhow.
Yeah, not to get too far off track, but Bear's Bug Service out of Beaumont built a Volkswagen-powered dragster. He actually had the record, the NHRA record for a while, and he used to run it around here quite a bit. But, I mean, that's all it did. You figure a rear-engine dragster with a Volkswagen motor on it, there's no weight.
Well, Todd wants the motor.
Yeah, you need it.
That'd be perfect.
Yeah.
So are the two Bugs drivers now?
One of them is, it's close. It needs some brake lines, put in the fuel tank, put into it, and fire it up.
And are you a member of, I know you're pretty involved in all of the mini truck stuff and the truck stuff here in Houston, but there's also a huge group of Volkswagen enthusiasts as well. Do you join in with them as well?
No, I really don't know any of those guys. I just go to the events whenever I have time, try to fit it in between working and going to all the truck shows we go to with garage gear. So it that side keeps me busy enough where I end up missing a few of those.
So, and I follow you on social media, and I know that you have been pretty active this year, at least as active as you can be, trying to get to as many of the big shows with garage gear as you can. How's that panned out this year with so many show cancellations?
It's good. You know, the brand grows a little bit every year, and that's what we're hoping for. So, yeah, I mean, just as long as we can keep that trajectory going, then it's worthwhile.
Very good.
Conrad and I are sitting here looking at each other.
Well, I was wanting to ask, you know, your dually. You
Yes,
do
sir.
bring it out to the Lone Star Throwdown once in a while. I mean, you got to have some transportation back and forth. I know y'all
Yes, sir.
stay out there, literally.
Well, we've kind of gotten to the point where we were staying in RVs and we just got tired of it. Lonnie and Jared and everybody, they stay at a hotel, and I'm 20 minutes from the park, so I'll drive home every night, sleep in my own bed. I'm much better rested that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the 4 hours of sleep you get.
For the few hours that I get, yeah.
But it takes a huge crew of folks to put that on. I know you have a pretty dependable core group of people that have helped you on this project for a number of years now.
Oh yeah, for sure. If we didn't have all those folks, we would not be able to do what we do. There's no way.
And I know you and Lonnie are generally cruising around in the golf carts putting out fires, so to speak, because it's
Yes, sir.
everybody has an emergency, and I need Todd or I need Lonnie or I need tickets, or everybody has their thing that they need to do. But you generally kind of delegate some of the responsibilities to some of the rest of your crew. Who are the big players in your crew that help you put this on?
Jared helps us tremendously. He and Lonnie, they put their heads together and get all the vendor spots and sponsors and all that. Steve Green, that does the Houston Autorama, he takes care of all of our judging. He hires the judges, and they do everything for those days. My wife, she does all of the vehicle check-in out back. She has a group of people and friends and family that help back there. And Lonnie's wife as well, she helps with the vendor gate, getting everybody in and settled. So it just takes a bunch of people.
And with Jared, he works in the marine industry, if I'm correct. Is that right?
Yeah.
So he's got to kind of schedule his, and you have to schedule your work around, to a degree, Lone Star, because you spend so much time in, I'm going to say, probably most of February, kind of getting all of this ready to go. And then once it shoves off, you're there, basically 24 hours a day for 3 or 4 days in a row, aren't you?
Well, we actually get to the park the Tuesday before the event, and in years past, I've been out there the Tuesday after waiting on equipment to be picked up, forklifts and whatnot. So it's a 10-day ordeal, and thankfully I work for myself, so I can still kind of delegate stuff over the telephone while it's all going on.
Very good. So how many people do you think you had there last year? Spectators.
That's probably a question for Lonnie. If I had to guess, there's 10 or 11,000 people.
What? I think there were that many there when we were there.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
well, it
it's-
seemed that way.
Well, you got to remember they sell it as a 3-day pass, so it's a Friday, Saturday,
Yeah.
Sunday pass.
So that's how many people will come through over the 3 or 4 or the 3 days.
Oh, okay. Well,
So, Todd, I have a friend of mine that I work with, and his dad passed away several years ago, and he inherited his dad's 1984 Nissan. And from what he's telling me here, that's the year that it went from Datsun to Nissan.
Right.
And so he has the 84 Nissan. And I keep telling him, I said, Mike, you need to really take that thing somewhere because rust is eating it away. And it's a Houston, Texas vehicle, but it's all original. And how do you go about actually getting a value on something like that?
That's a good question. I mean, you sit on the internet and look at eBay and Craigslist, see what they're trying to get for that stuff. I mean, if he wants to pay for an appraisal on something like that, I don't know if it'd be worth its time, really.
Do you think that they could get a couple $1,000s out of that thing?
It just depends on how bad the rust is. Some people will stay away from it if it's
too rusted.
Huge, big holes, and because I don't think they make any replacement panels for those things, so it'll have to be handmade. It'll be a bunch of work.
Or somebody that's going to do some serious modification and really don't care because they would do something
Cut it
different
out
there.
anyhow.
Yeah.
Somebody would have to really want that truck and pay probably nothing for it to have that much work done to it.
Yeah.
Because it's unibody, and once those start to rust, they rust in certain places. It's basically irreparable, to some of the places where they stack layers of metal together. That's a lot of work to fix something like that.
Yeah.
So how many categories will you have this year at the show? And I know you have a pretty unique trophy program.
Well, what we do is we do a top 100. So out of all the vehicles that Steve and them judge, we're just doing a top 100. And I don't know that it's necessarily in any order. I mean, obviously there's one that scored higher than everybody else, but it's all a top 100. And then we've got a big batch of best ofs, best interiors, best paint, best engineered, longest distance. We got a whole bunch of that stuff.
So have you seen this year's trophy yet? I know your trophy guy is pretty special every year.
Yes, sir. Matter of fact, yesterday he sent us a bunch of best of awards that they've assembled. He and his parents, Phil and his parents, put the day in at the shop Christmas Day and bolted everything together and getting ready to package them and send them our way here pretty soon. So yeah, we just got a text full of that stuff yesterday.
Don't they come from Canada?
Yes, sir, they do.
Yeah, so you're importing these trophies.
Yes, sir.
Hey.
Hey.
So, and I know through the years you've had some pretty big name shops bring some vehicles to show. I'm sure Extensive will have their display there. I think they're there every year. Who else you got coming this year?
That's a good question. That might be one for Lonnie. I'm not real sure who they've got coming in during the week.
Well, what good are you?
I'm not real good at all.
He's got lipstick.
I'm good at making a Three Wise Men joke. That's about it. Cut it off right there.
Exactly. And sitting in front of your wife's makeup counter.
Don, some of these colors would look great on you.
I think that they would. Yes, they would, especially with those nice red
They
pumps
go with
of
his
mine.
red pumps.
What would be a good color for an olive complexion?
Yeah, exactly.
And the gray hair.
All right. So we know that it's the last weekend in February. Am I not correct?
February 26th through the 28th.
Yeah. And tickets are $20, and $20 get you a 3-day pass.
Yes, sir. That's a weekend pass. You can come and go every day.
Yeah.
LoneStarThrowdown.com if you want to look it up. And Lonnie had told us you still have a few spaces for registration. So anybody that's listening and you want to register, jump on it.
Very limited. We're talking like 30 or 40 spots open left out of the 2,000.
Yeah. Well, all right, my friend. Well, it's great to talk to you, as always.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. And I hope that you had a Merry Christmas and be safe on New Year's.
Well, we'll see y'all here in February, I hope. We got a spot whittled out for you.
All right. Well, we appreciate that. Thank you so much, man. Great to talk to you. Take care.
Y'all too. Good to see y'all.
You
Thanks,
too.
Todd.
Todd
Bye-bye.
Hendrix, he's half of the team out there of the Lone
Half
Star.
of the perpetrators of the Lone Star
The
Throwdown.
perps. That's exactly
The
right.
Three Wise Men. That was great.
We were going to debut a new feature today called Ryan's Car Adventures. And we're not going to be able to do that, are we?
No,
it's not formatted in a way.
It's not formatted in such a way.
See, we're using old technology. Ryan's a young man. He uses the newest and latest and greatest.
Well, that's why we're going to bring him in on this show, because we need a little youth movement going on here.
My switcher is a Betamax.
Is that what it is? A Betamax. Lord, I made that mistake. Paid a fortune for that stupid thing. At any rate, so Ryan's Car Adventures. Ryan is a senior in high school. And I've been wanting to bring a youth movement to the show, at least for one segment. And
Don's been hanging around the high school in the van.
Yeah.
Ryan actually is a hot rodder of the new generation.
He's got the G35, and
He's got it going.
And it is one sweet-looking rod.
Yep.
And so the goal is for him to, when he goes out and get out and about town, to take his video camera and go and for all of us to be able to see some of this stuff. And a lot of the cars are what we used to refer to as rice rockets. Well, not so much anymore they're referred to that, because a lot of the cars these days that the kids are driving, 10, 15 years old, some of them are actually made here in the United States.
Yeah.
But and the ones that I saw in this video that we were supposed to show today, but are not because of technical issues, they're all in that category, 10, 15 years old. Some are newer, but for the most part, that's where they lie. And almost all of them have power adders, either a blower or, for the most part, turbochargers put on four-cylinder engines. And let me tell you something. Wow. I saw some stuff there. You're going, are you kidding? Looks completely stock. At least one that I saw in particular. Looks completely
but with
stock.
a hairdryer.
But with a hairdryer on it. And it just is pretty incredible what these kids did. But, you look back in our day and age, and we used to do basically the same thing without power adders, but we would put a cam in it, all sorts of different things, headers, big tires and
Gear
wheels.
ratio,
And we'd do all that sort of thing. But these kids aren't doing that per se.
But they do computer modifications to create power. They might put a small amount of spray on it, or a turbo or a supercharger, and then just the difference is the car doesn't necessarily visually change when they do these things, because everything hides under
And
the
let's say
hood.
lower it a little bit or something.
The ones that I saw, you're pointing at something?
Yeah, that was a hint. I asked Roger to join us back because we couldn't do the video thing.
All right.
And we got Roger. He sounds good.
And we have the audio.
Not Roger. James Rogerson. Sorry, James.
Pick one.
No, that's okay.
I don't know if you had a chance to watch. We had Richard Tomlin on a little bit earlier, and he was talking about bringing his Miatas to the Enduro this afternoon. So got a chance to talk a little bit more about it.
But one thing I wanted to talk about was when you and I talked, you've got a couple of drivers coming out this afternoon that are special drivers, shall we say?
We this year, after doing several years with different veterans groups like the first responders and different people would come in and we give them rides. They all wanted to drive, and there just isn't really a pathway for disabled veterans or disabled anyone to get into racing if they haven't had prior experience. And so since I run a school and I had some input to the B-Spec community, I got them to OK automatics. And so now we've got some of our automatic B-Spec cars, and I put hand controls in them. I made a joint venture with MPS and Guido Simplex out of Italy and the United States to have hand control cars for these veterans to begin with. And I've got Ryan Hawk driving with us today. He's co-driving in the Enduro with my grandson, who's the current B-Spec national champion. And so it's going to be an interesting team.
So are they actually going to, both of them, drive some during this Enduro?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Ryan went through our last school in December, and I had Jay Lamb and his group here for Lemons. The last day of the school when we were doing races, and I had them come out on the catwalk for the starter stand, and I says, pick out the 2 hand control cars. And they could not pick them out of the group of cars on track because they were all competitive. They were all keeping up, and they were all driving wheel to wheel and door to door just perfectly. This is what you expect.
Well, that's what I was wondering about. So your grandson, he's actually, I guess.
Oh, he's not. Yeah, he's not disabled at all.
No, I understand. But is if he's going to be driving, is he going to have to use the hand controls, or can he use the regular controls?
The way we have the car set up with the Monarch system is that you can disable the hand controls, or basically you can still use the brake and the gas pedal at the same time, or you can disable them. It all depends on the disability. For guys that are truly paralyzed below the waist, you have to disable the throttle, the gas pedal itself, because if you don't have their legs tied down. It's been kind of an interesting learning process for us. We've had to learn how to change seats, how to change seat belts, things that need to be strapped down that you don't expect to. Like I said, the legs, we got to put them around in a different place. And I've got some guys that are quads, which they don't have complete use of their hands, but they may or may not have core strength. The non-core strength guys, I'm working with Ultra Shield to try to get a seat that can capture their body better and be able to have extra links to the seat belts to hold them in. So, it's a learning experience, but it's been going pretty good.
And Richard down there at Apex, he's the one that's actually helping you build these cars and make these modifications. That's the way I understand it.
Yeah. When we're building the cars, Richard has done my cages for a long time. Richard and I have been friends for almost 20 years, I guess, when he got started. And so we found there's some issues with the seat placement, how the seat angle has to be, just all kinds of little things. And so, like you said, Richard and I have been working together to design these cars to where they fit perfectly for either disabled or non-disabled people, able-bodied, I guess, the proper term.
So you're bringing the one gentleman in for this event today. Are you planning on bringing more for maybe like a series of veterans race series?
Well, I haven't really thought about that because our whole goal is to mainstream these guys. Anybody that wants to come in, we use the term disabled, but they don't really want to go by. They're not disabled. They just got a little hurdle to get over. And so we're looking to mainstream as opposed to having a different class. I'm not into that kind of way of doing things.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and one thing that James is actually an instructor, and we're going to set it up probably sometime in January or first part of February, where he's going to come back and we're going to talk about the process they're going through to actually work with these guys to be able to get them into the car and being able to drive it. And there's one story that's really touching, and we're going to save all that. So, James, appreciate you coming back and helping us, wrap up the story for this afternoon, get everybody informed about that. And we're going to set something up to where we're going to talk about your driving school and how it really works to get with these veterans in the whole program in a lot more detail.
James.
Okay, yeah, I look forward to it. We are, we're just getting our foot in the door, but I've got people all over the United States sending me people. So
good. Hopefully we can help you with that.
I've got 2 cars now, and I plan on having 4 cars by the springtime. And I've got people waiting in line to get in them.
Thank you so much, James. We really appreciate you speaking with us today, and we'll check in with you soon. One of the news stories I wanted to get in before the top of the hour, Apple Incorporated CEO Tim Cook refused to take a meeting years ago to discuss acquiring Tesla Incorporated Elon Musk. said on Tuesday. Tesla's Musk said in a tweet that he reached out to Apple during the darkest days of development of his company's Model 3 to talk about a possible deal. Musk said he planned to discuss the possibility of selling Tesla to Apple for 1/10 of its current value. Oops. An Apple spokesman declined to comment on Musk's remarks. Tesla did not reply to a request for a comment on the timing of the other offer Musk described.
Just missed that one, didn't we? Just
by that
it's like
much.
Apple doesn't have enough money.
All right, well, that's it for this hour of In Wheel Time. Hour number 2 starts in just a second.
Is your business or company looking to stand out in a crowded advertising market? Looking to reach the real auto enthusiast? Well, you found it. You're listening or watching In Wheel Time, and so are your fellow enthusiasts. The In Wheel Time Car Show now reaches 500,000, and we can put together a marketing plan that will engage them in your product, business, or service. To get the tires rolling, just shoot us an email to our marketing director, Jeff Zekin. His address is jeff@inwheeltime.com. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's premier cruise-in, and you're invited to join in. Whether you're a cruiser or spectator, Tailpipes and Tacos is the place to enjoy made-to-order breakfast tacos, fresh coffee, and mingle with Houston's fun car people. Mark your calendar for Saturday, January 16th for Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Tailpipes and Tacos is free, and everyone is invited. You'll see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods all at one location. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a friends and family event. The Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 and Katy. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Lupi founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise in, Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, January 16th, 8 to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy. The In Wheel Time Car Show will be there too. Get your ride ready, and we'll see you at the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise in, January 16th, 8 to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy, weather permitting. Texas Truck Works is your go-to truck customizer. From mild-to-wild lift kits, custom wheels, and steering and handling enhancements to the best personal and commercial wraps, Texas Truck Works delivers. Let Texas Truck Works founder Scott Stevens help you get the most out of your truck or Jeep. Texas Truck Works has decades of customizing experience, including power adders and complete engine swaps. Let the Texas Truck Works team design an upgrade plan that fits your budget. Get truck attitude today at TexasTruckWorks.com.
From Studio A in Texas, USA, it's the award-winning All Things Automotive Car Talk Show, In Wheel Time. Just ahead, a review of our new car of the week, the 2021 Mustang Convertible. This week in auto history, stories making automotive news headlines this week, and maybe a guest or two, just to tease you a little bit. We got that and more just ahead on today's In Wheel Time Car Show for Saturday, December 26th, 2020. Howdy, along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong, Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad that you could join us on this Saturday. It is absolutely, stunningly beautiful in Houston, Texas.
Yes, it is. Yes,
it's got to be 50, 55.
I'm chilly. It's a little
Are
chilly
you chilly?
It's a little chilly.
Well,
for
you
me.
close the
No,
door.
I'm fine. I'm layered up.
He's skin and bones. You
I'm
know, he ain't
layered
got
up.
no meat on him.
We know. At any rate, it's been an interesting morning. I don't know why it's been interesting.
Because the audio
It's the day after Christmas, and
Why
through
do
the
you
house.
keep saying the day after Christmas? It's the week before New Year's. I'm so excited about getting the heck out of 2020 and putting it behind us.
How many more shopping days until next Christmas? That's what I want to know.
364.
You sure?
Yeah. It's one day after. It's only 365 in the year.
Isn't there a leap year coming up?
Yeah, but not in 21. Leap year happens on the even years.
only he would know that.
I know. I tried to throw him a
I
curve.
knew a guy that got married on leap year day intentionally.
That way he didn't
Did he
have
get married on leap year day?
Yeah. He did it intentionally.
The 29th.
He
Perfect.
did it intentionally.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
perfect.
Of
Yeah.
course, and when she left a few years later, she took everything. Soap out of the dishes, everything.
Nice.
When she
Yeah,
left, she took
but he
everything.
didn't have to pay her a whole lot because they weren't married for very many
He
years.
saved a lot on anniversary gifts.
Well, it depends on what state you were married in, whether you were married or not, I
The
guess.
state of confusion.
State of insanity.
You got married on.
God. Well,
Anyhow, there's got to be other things to do.
we had a very bizarre guest list that we had to change around at the last minute because of technical issues.
Why does he look at me when he says
I don't
that?
know.
Well, it's not me. I don't control that. That's your thing over there.
Yeah, Don,
so when you
Don
ask,
controls the audio.
So when you ask-
you get the blame for it.
so
My
you
camera
ask,
died.
So you ask why Mars doesn't participate because he's over there participating in something on the internet, but we're not exactly sure what it is because we don't think it has anything to do with this show.
Mike gathers up the Zoom attendees and tries to get their audio corrected, but if they're not paying attention to their chat in Zoom, he can't talk to them, so they just kind of look at him like
Puppy dogs.
like they don't know what to do because we can, and then we don't come to them. Or you
Are you sending out the here's what you need to do sheet?
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh. How's that been working out for us?
Well,
Today?
all you got to do is listen to the program today.
Yeah.
But once we got it worked out,
It's
it worked
turned
out
into
good.
a great big cluster is what it's turned out.
everybody
Everybody-
worked out good once
once
they
every-
got off the Bluetooth and everything else.
Yeah, the Bluetooth don't work too good.
Yeah, we if you ever join us on Zoom, please do not use one of those Bluetooth headsets
I'm
because
going
it
to add
screws it
that
all
to
up.
the notes.
I think we should. Yes, thank you. So we have a choice here.
Choices?
Choices. From Haggerty, we can either look at a 14-step winter detailing checklist, which is a lot of work, or we can look at 6 odd things you should keep in your toolbox.
Oh, I like odd things.
Yeah, I think we go for
Figures.
the odd things.
That figures.
6 odd things you should keep in your toolbox.
Got to be more than 6.
So it's got to be duct tape. It's got to be
Wait,
baling
don't
wire.
read ahead.
No, we got to guess at what's in it. Duct tape, baling wire, channel locks, an adjustable wrench,
And a live chicken.
a screwdriver. Why live?
Well, actually,
It's a dead
the
chicken.
only
'cause
one.
if you wrap it in foil and put it under the hood near the exhaust manifold, you can cook it.
You're assuming
Rob,
that it
me.
runs.
Why are we looking at me while everybody else is talking? What are you doing over there?
I'm trying to figure something out
Texting his
here.
granddaughter.
He's trying to figure out something else out.
He's trying to read ahead and figure out what
So
those
6
are.
odd things you should keep in your toolbox. The number one thing is a broken screwdriver.
Broken screwdriver.
Mm-hmm.
How about a Craftsman torque wrench, according to George?
Yeah, absolutely. That's so when you get done with it, you can hit yourself in the head with it because it's not good for anything else.
So why
call,
a
George.
broken screwdriver?
Well, even if you have a set of pry bars, they are likely too big for some situation, and at some point in the future, you'll grab for a new flathead screwdriver and break it again.
Okay.
So might as well, instead of
Use the broken one.
use the broken one. So when you're
But
pounding,
it has to be a broken standard.
No,
flathead.
you get a Craftsman one because it's got a lifetime warranty. So if you break
they're
it,
not
you
gonna
can always-
honor.
Yeah,
I forgot.
That's
yeah.
right. They'll never honor it.
Or you can get a Snap-on one that's got a lifetime warranty. It's just 5 times the cost of the Craftsman one, but they
You
will
can buy-
honor the warranty.
yeah, you
Maybe
buy
that's
5
part of the reason
Craftsman.
that Sears is out of business because they're poor tools, and then they wouldn't honor them with their lifetime warranty. An old hotel key.
That's what I talked about scraping the windshield with.
Yeah, I meant to wonder how
actually
many
keep one of
hotel
those.
keys do you have?
Oh, I got tons of them through the years.
Ideal.
How often do you go?
Ideal is soft jaws. Use them to clamp something in a vise without marring it.
Like I have a vise in my car. I need soft
Probably in your
jaws
trunk.
for it.
Or as a
in your trunk.
protective shield when you need to hammer an object without leaving marks. Safe to scrape just about any gasket surface, too. And you're generally creative, you can use a bit of sandpaper to produce a finer edge and remove junk even more quickly
Might I
by
point
wrapping
out
it around them.
the coonskin cap over Conrad's left shoulder on the toolbox there?
Yeah? Yeah? What about it?
It's unique.
Be something unique to
Yeah,
have.
but
Oh,
why would you want it in your toolbox except for you to keep your head warm because you don't have any hair on it?
Squirrel.
I do have a chill. No, it's beaver.
A serrated bread knife. I don't think we even want to go there with me.
A
Do we?
serrated bread knife.
Even
Even
if
if you use it as a screwdriver.
If you do even basic upholstery work, you'll likely find yourself cutting some foam. The only way to get decent angles is to cut without compressing the foam while slicing. Electric carving knives rule in this regard, but a standard bread knife works just as well too, and you don't need to plug it into the wall. Fewer cords, less chances you're going to hurt yourself.
That's funny. I'd never really thought of that, but when you watch some of these car building shows on TV,
On the upholstery.
the upholstery guy, and now I'm thinking about it, they go, I'm sure they have a regular knife that's made for it, but yeah, they're in there basically with an electric carving knife cutting the foam for the seats.
Suede shoe brush.
To go with my blue suede shoes?
You know, you keep your old toothbrush in the toolbox for cleaning purposes, but sometimes you need something just a little bit bigger. That's where a suede brush comes in handy. Typically, these are comprised of relatively soft nylon bristles, making them a real help for cleaning the nooks and crannies of automotive interiors, like the creases of seats. They're also good for scrubbing engine parts in a homemade parts cleaner made from a suede shoe brush.
Huh.
Stainless chafing dish.
I hate it when I get chafed.
Yeah,
Because usually his chafing leaves a stain, so he's looking for stainless chafe.
My goodness.
Some parts need to soak in cleaner to get truly clean. Other components need to be disassembled in a contained environment for fear of creating a miniature Superfund site under your garage floor. Stainless chafing dish, like the ones used by catering companies, are perfect for these tasks. Pour in some solvent. You need to have a tabletop parts washer. You make a lid or drain.
Makes sense.
You make a lid or drain it after each use. This guy uses a few dishes to store parts of motorcycle engines so they marinate in their own leaking fluids instead of leaving puddles around the garage floor.
Well,
Mars marinates in his own leaking fluids.
That's why you have a
That's
bathtub.
stew. He stews in it.
That's why you have a bathtub for those.
Flavor injector syringe.
Boy, there's a couple of jokes we
baster.
can make about that.
Everyone's got a baster.
A baster. That's what you call it.
Yeah.
So you do Cajun garlic injection.
I'm a master at it.
Being able to accurately place small amounts of liquid is invaluable. He uses the syringe for measuring motorcycle fork oil amounts and for reverse bleeding brakes. Rather than trying to push the air bubbles in a brake line all the way down and out through the caliper wheel cylinder, use the injector to push air-free liquid upwards, thus allowing the air bubbles to flow their natural direction. You can use the syringe to pull fluid from the master cylinder to keep it from overflowing, but just like standard brake bleeding, set the old fluid aside in an appropriate container to be recycled or disposed. Only push fresh fluid into the system, no matter which way you inject it.
You think about that when you go get your COVID shot.
They're gonna flush Don's brakes with a COVID injection.
My dad always used to keep a bar of soap in the toolbox to lubricate belts.
Yes.
Yeah.
My dad did too.
Yeah.
Like ivory soap, just a plain cheap thing, whatever it is. Yeah, especially wooden drawer pulls.
Yeah.
You scrape it down the side, man, after you get done with
They
that.
wouldn't stick.
Yep.
Yeah. Greg Gordon said he had a bayonet in his. I'm not sure what you would
Bayonet.
do with a bayonet, but he said he had one in his. So
Bayonet
that would be an
works.
odd thing, I think.
I've got some very interesting things in the top of that toolbox right there.
Yeah, but we can't show them on the air. The inflatable things you have in your toolbox, we don't want everybody to see.
Actually, there is a knife in there that's out of a Davy Crockett belt that I had as a child.
No
it's
wonder
still
that.
in there.
You have a lot of your stuff from your childhood.
Yeah, I do. I do. Trucks mainly.
Well, when you live at home your whole life.
Never get out of the basement.
And never get out of the basement. Kind of like here. I don't ever really leave the house. I just kind of stew here.
Well, and then when you do leave the house, you're up there flying around in the helicopter, so you're above the rest of us.
So to speak.
He stews around the house with his baster.
With the baster. And I still have that too. And it's a glass one. And I used to use it to do just what we talked about there, where you kind of base the cleaning liquids
You
on.
told
on
me
the
it was your
parts.
mother's. It was your mother's.
It was
one.
my mother's baster for the turkey.
And Don has gotten so good at it, he's become a master at it. I'll leave it at that.
But it's a master baster.
I laugh
think.
at my own joke.
A master baster.
Send your comments to info@wheel.
Nah, don't bother with that one.
Attention, Conrad.
No, send it to Mars at inwheeltime.com.
Yeah, it would be the first time he's had a couple of complaints. But
We'll get you on a Zoom call.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
real interesting.
I guess the biggest faux pas of my broadcasting career was at the last radio station that we were on, that the microphone said in the control room it was off. Wasn't off. Now, in the world that I grew up in, when it's off, it's off. Kind of like, when you turn the microphone button off and it actually is off. It's off when you turn it off?
it wasn't. And
Oh, no.
some of our between commercial break comments went out on the radio.
Yes. Actually went out on the internet, not on the radio, but they went out on the internet.
Well, it's safer on the internet because the FCC doesn't.
Not really, compared to what I said and what was sent back. Well, ask Don if he did this. Oh,
gosh.
Yeah, no. And then it was like.
That's why we have so much fun doing the show.
I don't think you were there the day we were talking to the couple from the Mopar people, and they got married. They were real big in the Mopar. Anyway, they were talking to us there in the studio.
Using 4-letter words. I heard about that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They used 4-letter words. We said, okay, ma'am, you can't say that on the radio. It wasn't 2 minutes later.
Yeah.
Said it again.
It's like, no, you really can't say that on the radio. Yeah. And we don't necessarily run with a delay.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, well.
Or scruples.
Well, we're not on the radio, so we don't fall under that category, although I'm sure that Facebook would have an issue with it.
Now, we've had a couple of issues with Facebook through the years, but most all of that was about music. Wasn't one time it was background music? Somebody else was playing, and it was coming through
the notorious
broadcast.
The bots pick it up.
We were on a remote, and somebody the broadcast that was being let out in the outside out there, but somebody else was playing really loud music out there, and apparently
picked up in one of our mics.
And Facebook said, "Oh no, you can't do that," and zipped us off of there.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about it is, it's not somebody sitting there listening to it. They've got these programs that run on Facebook that listen for that sort of stuff because of copyright. And,
it's bots, and I understand why they do it, but
Russian bots.
But there's a couple of them, like our intro
and
music.
there's also the B-bots.
B-bots.
Yeah, B-bots.
Yeah. And then audio in the Fiats, the B-bot system. But anyway, so we've told them several times. They keep hitting us, and we go, all right, we have permission, we own this, blah 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 blah.
We paid for this.
And they come back a month or two later and say, yeah, you're right.
But
then they hit us again.
But we still took you down.
Yeah.
For instance, our theme music at the beginning of the show, that's one of those that was a paid-for piece of music. We paid for it through a production company.
You own it.
So you had the rights to broadcast it.
Yes, that's correct. In almost every form that there's known to man. But every once in a while, we still get flagged for it. And you can't run that. This belongs to DeWolf Music or whoever it is. Yeah, they are the ones that created it, but we have the rights to use it. We paid for the rights and paid good money for the rights to use it. So there you go.
The life and times of running a show on Facebook or the radio. If we need to do this as television.
Well, we are doing this as television.
This is a simulcast. If you think about it, we're live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and you can pick us up from our website. It's all live, just like live TV.
You would think Don could get us on Channel 13.
I don't know that we want to be on Channel 13. I don't know that we want to be on any network channel because they would have cut us off a long time ago.
Yeah, I kind of got that.
Motor Trend.
That would be good. They have some wild shows on there.
And they have some really suck shows.
Yes, they do. So where would we fit in?
In between. we wouldn't be
wildly suck.
We wouldn't be on at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning. We'd be on more along the lines of midnight or 5 a.m. on the fringe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Playboy channel.
No, that you would be on that. We would sit back and watch you on the Playboy channel.
I got my camera fixed.
Boy, you're an odd duck if you'd sit back and watch Jeff on that.
I would be?
Yes.
I'd be more of an odd duck than I am already. That's what you meant to say.
Okay. Up next.
Up next. Well, I've got a car review I can do.
That Mustang?
Yeah.
The
Mustang?
the turbo Mustang too, wasn't it?
Well, let me just.
He's reading ahead again.
No, what do you mean?
He's looking for his review there.
No, I got the review right here.
Okay.
It's right there. I was just looking at some other paperwork that I had here. But let's go ahead and do the 2020 Ford Mustang, shall we?
Sure.
So the Ford Mustang. Do I need to really describe to you what the Ford Mustang looks like? I think everybody knows what the Ford Mustang looks like.
But do they realize how orange that Mustang was?
It was very orange, but it was very cool, and I really did enjoy driving it. Let me just say that up front.
Looked like a dreamsicle.
So here is what the Ford Mustang comes in: the EcoBoost, the EcoBoost Premium, the GT Premium, and the Bullet.
Nice.
Those are the trim levels. I had the EcoBoost Premium Convertible. This is considered by the federal government as a subcompact.
Oh,
really?
Is it?
Yeah, that's all determined by the interior space of a vehicle. And I would think in a Mustang convertible, interior space is at a premium.
And there is no back seat.
This is basically a 2+2, what we used to call a 2+2. It seats 4.
But it's got to be two real friendly people in the back. With
my granddaughters won't even
legs.
get back there.
Children in the back seat. Exterior changes from last model year, really none. So let's talk about some of the exterior features. Probably the best looking Mustang, in my opinion, ever produced.
The headlight grille looks great.
It does. Everything about it looks great. Wheel and tire options make or break the look. If you want the cheap look, you get the basic wheel and tire package. But with the basic look of the Ford Mustang, you can upgrade that look tremendously by the wheels that you choose.
Alloy spokes.
Mm-hmm. Convertible top is absolutely, bar none, the easiest top to take down and put up that I have ever used in my entire life. What?
Push button?
Oh,
Just push a button to unlatch. You don't have to do any mechanical unlatching of it.
You do have to unlatch one thing up there, hit the button, and down she goes. Then it puts a tonneau cover on the back. What is the problem over there? Why are you laughing?
He's laughing
Jeff's
because
having a hoot because you're taking your top off.
Yeah, because you're going topless.
But beside the point.
Okay. This thing even has, this one that I had a spoiler on the deck lid, despite the fact that it's a convertible, which is kind of interesting. Now, the trunk opening itself, teeny tiny. What I liked about it, the quietness of the convertible top when it's up is minimal road noise. I don't know how they did it. I think
pretty hard to do, too.
And I think a lot of it has to do with aerodynamics, but whatever the case, it works really well. The interior highlights. Great sports car dash layout. Unlike the Camaro, as you can see in that picture right there, the AC vents are up where they should be. But the Camaro, is down there by your hand.
Yeah, they're freezing your knees.
Mm-hmm. Digital dash with lots of driving modes. The driving modes consist of normal, Sport Plus, track, drag strip, and snow and wet. Comfort seating in front. Forget the back except for the baby seats. Because, there's no leg room back there.
So did you play around with the various driving modes?
Unfortunately, I happened to have this vehicle when it was really cold and rainy.
Oh, okay.
So it was very difficult for me to do. But, yes, I did somewhat.
And you noticed a difference in them?
Oh, absolutely. 2.3-liter four-cylinder engine. EcoBoost. That turns out 310 horsepower. But you get the high-performance package that adds another 20 horsepower.
330 out of a 2.3-liter turbo four-cylinder.
With 350 pound-feet of torque.
That's awfully impressive.
Yeah, it is extreme. And you think, but it sounds like a four-cylinder. It does not. Telling you.
With that much torque, it doesn't feel like a four-cylinder either.
10-speed automatic transmission. Now, a manual transmission, believe it or not, is standard on the Mustang, the 6-speed manual. I have the 10-speed automatic. And let me tell you something, that 10-speed automatic works great. I don't know why you would want to go with the 6-speed manual transmission. 20 miles per gallon city, 28 on the highway for a combined total of 23.
And you got?
I got 26.8 miles per gallon over 244 miles.
That's actually awesome.
It is. What I liked about it, it's got the power of a very nice, powerful V6 engine, but with a lot better gas mileage. It's the only way to go. I don't know why why would you get a V6
And probably
anymore?
a little bit more fun to drive because when that thing comes up on boost, it's a bit of a hold on.
Well, not only that, but let's figure the actual weight on the front end. You got a lot less weight on the front end now with the 4-cylinder. We're keeping you awake. You need a nap.
I know. So you like that the EcoBoost?
That 4-cylinder engine is the bomb, man. I'm telling you.
Turbocharged, direct injected, pretty high tech motor.
What I liked about the ride and handling, it's kind of stiff, but this is a sports car. You would expect it to be a little bit stiff. And I liked it because it gave it this sportiness that you wouldn't get. Most of them try to kind of hide the stiffness of the sportiness of the ride.
Mm-hmm.
They're not in this one. Don't need to. What could use improvement? Well, nothing. It has plenty of options depending on the model. So I don't think that there's really any room for improvement here. I really like this car. Now, the base trim price on it is $37,185.
Not bad for
a convertible.
For what it is, yeah.
And price is tested now. It had lots of options on it, and I told you that it was the upgraded 4-banger. So it's $43,465. The base model price for a Mustang. Want to guess?
$29,990.
$26,670. $26,670 for the base price of the Mustang.
So that would be a EcoBoost 6-speed
manual.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd still get.
And it'd be a fun car.
Yeah,
it would be.
Right.
Drop the top and the horsepower.
So, based on the base model price, $26,670, compare it to the Camaro for $25,000, or the Dodge Challenger for $28,095. I think that this is probably the most bang for the buck.
And that's why they sell so many of them.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah, still today. I get to drive a new car every week. I mean, that's pretty cool. But when I thought I was going to get the Mustang, I thought, well, I've had the Bullet Mustang, and I've had the other Mustangs, but I really hadn't had a convertible, and I hadn't had this 4-cylinder with EcoBoost.
Don, do you think the stiff ride is because of it being a convertible?
Could be because in a convertible, when they take the roof off of it, they have to stiffen the chassis.
But let me say this about that. That was the old school. Today, they build convertible cars as a convertible, and then they add a roof on it. So they don't have to go back and brace up stuff. It's already built solid as a rock. And then if you don't want the convertible top, we'll pull all that out of there and put a hard top on.
But I'll tell you, the car you had, you should have had that in Austin because, boy, was that Longhorn orange.
It was orange.
To me, it was more dreamsicle.
Yeah, it could be, but I mean, if you're a Texan Longhorn fan, that would be a color to pick on your Mustang.
Really a nice, comfortable car, and
it looked gorgeous.
If I ever get rid of the Corvette, which is always a possibility, something along.
Info at inwheeltime.com if you want to buy his 2001 Corvette.
I've always been attracted to Camaro, Mustang size cars.
Pony cars.
Yeah, it's a good size car.
Well, not only that, but in a pinch, you can put people in the back seat, but it's still sporty enough, and it's got that. I like that.
You also mentioned the popularity, the 4-cylinder. You probably get a better break with insurance too.
I don't know. I don't know anymore.
Well, 4-cylinder turbo, 300-plus horsepower.
Yeah, I think the insurance companies, they'll look at the VIN and determine what engine's in it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure when it says turbo, it's more, and no doubt when it says Mustang, it's more.
You're automatically
depending
in
on
sports
your
car
age
category.
As far as whether or not it's,
Of course, at Don's age, you might get a discount. No, wait, he's at the age they start adding on because of age.
And taking your driver's license away.
No, you got a year or two for that.
You don't know that. You don't know how many tickets I've gotten. Certainly not anywhere close to how many tickets you've gotten.
Oh. I'm kind of thinking, let me see. Let me compare you to me. Where we're at.
Is it the Neederville police that stopped you?
I've only lost my license once in my lifetime.
Well, is that a couple of years ago?
It was a little longer than that.
So how when you get these tickets, who do you get them from? Department of Public Safety or Neederville Police?
Generally, it's the county.
The county?
Yep.
And what county is that over
it's
there?
Jefferson County Sheriff's Department, generally.
Mm-hmm. Do you know these people now by first name basis?
They know him.
They cover a big territory, It's just it's luck of the draw. I try and behave.
Or the unluck of the
It's
draw.
like the lottery.
Yeah.
So you have an attorney over there in
I'll
Jeff County that
one of my
handles your
grandsons
tickets?
asked me the other day. I was showing him that Hellcat I was driving. He wanted to see it, and I was showing him, and we were riding around a little bit. And he asked me if last time I got a ticket.
Punch it up.
And the last time I got a ticket, I was driving a Ford truck, of all things, down the highway, and it was just stupid on my part. I wasn't paying attention.
How fast were you going, Mike?
I was doing 55, and the speed limit dropped down to 40, and I didn't slow down. I never saw the sign that said 40, but he was sitting right there, and he pointed it out to me.
That's why he sits there.
He's a courteous man and pointed it out to me.
And how much did that cost you?
Oh, it's on like $100 or so, you know.
Really?
It's been a few years.
Well, it's a bargain over there.
And then you take driver's ed.
Yeah.
Try and get out of it.
No, because he'd taken it the year before. You can only.
Can I do it once a year?
Hey, the In-Wheel
I
Time
gotta time those things.
The In-Wheel Time Car Show streams on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Podcast, TuneIn, Google Podcast, Pandora, Amazon, and Podcast Addict. The In-Wheel Time Car Show will continue right after this quick break.
Texas Truck Works is your go-to truck customizer. From mild-to-wild lift kits, custom wheels, and steering and handling enhancements to the best personal and commercial wraps, Texas Truck Works delivers. Let Texas Truck Works founder Scott Stevens help you get the most out of your truck or Jeep. Texas Truck Works has decades of customizing experience, including power adders and complete engine swaps. Let the Texas Truck Works team design an upgrade plan that fits your budget. Get truck attitude today at TexasTruckWorks.com. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's premier cruise-in, and you're invited to join in. Whether you're a cruiser or spectator, Tailpipes and Tacos is the place to enjoy made-to-order breakfast tacos, fresh coffee, and mingle with Houston's fun car people. Mark your calendar for Saturday, January 16th for Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupe Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Tailpipes and Tacos is free, and everyone is invited. You'll see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods all at one location. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a friends and family event. The Lupe Tortilla Mexican Restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 and Katy. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Lupe founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise in, Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, January 16th, 8 to 11 a.m. at Lupe's in Katy. The In-Wheel Time Car Show will be there too. Get your ride ready, and we'll see you at the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise in, January 16th, 8 to 11 a.m. at Lupe's in Katy, weather permitting.
This is the award-winning car talk show In-Wheel Time, your weekly go-to all things automotive place. Along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong, and Mr. Jeffrey Zekin, I'm Don Armstrong. So glad that you could join us on this day.
Saturday.
As we head up to the new year.
Yes.
We're not looking back. We're moving forward, getting ready for 2021.
Because we want.
How is that? Is that better for you?
Much better.
We want 2020 to be in hindsight.
We don't ever want to remember it again.
Nope, not I.
Nor I. So at any rate, thank you very much for joining us today. We have a special guest, and he is with the Lone Star Street Rod Association. His name is Jackie Hanson. Jackie, hey, thank you so much for joining us. It's great to see you again. I know that we met at the Lucky's Rod Run last year, and I follow you and your bunch on Facebook, but we haven't spoken since then. I hope that you're doing well.
Doing very well. Had a great Christmas with the kids and grandkids and the wife, and getting ready for 2021. And you guys have done a rocking job all year long, and I'm sure you're going to miss that blue Corvette for a Mustang, and I have to get that dig in there. But
well, there is that.
I'm sorry.
No, it's
you know that's the thing. That is the thing about car people is I don't care if you have a Chevy, a Ford, a Mopar. We're all a big family. We love everybody, but we have to get that dig in there, you know.
Well, absolutely.
Take your shots when you get the chance.
Yeah. So, Jackie,
you better.
Let's start off by talking about the Lone Star Street Rod Association. Tell me about that. Is it restricted to street rods? And if so, what are the restrictions?
Well, the only restriction that we really have is the car's got to be older than a 1973. So 73 on down. I'm blessed that I have a 31 Ford, a 66 Nova, and a 69 truck, so I can take anything. But that's the only really requirement that we have is it has to be pre-73.
Pre-73.
We have members from all over Texas. Started in 74. And can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
We're listening.
We're listening. I feel all moving around. You made me nervous.
Well, we put some pictures up of your cars. The Nova's up there.
While you were talking about your cars, we kind of popped a picture of your Nova up. I collected a few photos of your cars last night on the internet. The Nova is quite the famous car as well. It's seen pretty much all around town. But you're never afraid to get behind the wheel of that and go to a show. That you put some pretty decent miles on that car.
Yes, actually, even though 2020 was a bad year, I was talking to someone the other day that in 2019 I made 45 events somewhere. Unfortunately, with 2020, I only made 15. Two of them one was in Oklahoma City with the Nova. And then my wife and I drove the Nova to Springfield, Missouri for that event. Put a little over 2,000 miles on the round trip. Was blessed to win an award there. So that was just a total shock. Over 1,000 cars. And so it's just, but I don't have a trailer. And this car is built to drive, and you should have a good time. And you meet so many great people at gas stations. I had a car like that, or, So, and I'm not afraid to drive them.
So, in other words, what you're saying is it does have a rock chip or two in it, and that's okay.
Yes, it does. It has. Well, yes and no. I just got it back from the paint shop, and he corrected all the little rock chips. So, but now it's accumulated to go. It's ready to go somewhere, and I am too. So.
Well, I want to get back to the Lone Star Street Rod Association because how many members do you have in the group?
Right now, our membership's down a little bit. We have a little over 600 members. I think it's 640. We have a big event every year in Granbury, Texas. And generally, a lot of people renew their membership there. And because we didn't get to have the event this year, like we normally do, a lot of people didn't renew their membership. So hopefully when we have our run this year, it's a great 3-day event in the city park there in Granbury. And our membership will come up. But it's hovering right now, a little over 600.
And when is the event in Granbury?
The event in Granbury will be in June, the 11th, 12th, and 13th. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event. It kicks off on Friday night. Of course, this year we didn't get to, but the year before there's the lake there in Granbury, and we had a concert there on the lake. And then the main car show was Saturday. Sunday morning, we start off with a church service and awards, and we're generally out of Granbury by 1 or 2 o'clock.
Where is Granbury?
Granbury's a little bit south of Fort Worth, about 60 miles south of Fort Worth. It's a beautiful little town, beautiful lake. The city of Granbury, the police chief in Granbury, the Granbury Convention Center just welcomes the car show event there. A great little town, beautiful courthouse to take some great photo ops with your car. And it's just a nice little place.
Well, I want to go. I want to go, but I've got a 2001 Corvette, so I don't qualify.
You can bring one of mine. I told you I had 3 cars.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I would trust myself driving somebody else's car.
And the only trick is never speed through Midlothian.
Well, my wife made a comment yesterday that people will say, Jackie lets you drive his cars? Well, they're her cars, mine too, so,
You can't drive all 3 of them at the same time.
I can't drive all 3 of them. You're correct.
Cool.
Now, she won't take the 31. She don't like the 31, so it's too small.
Oh. But let me ask you, your statewide event that you have up there in Granbury, how many people do you look for to attend?
We generally have, in 2019, we had almost 250 cars there.
Wow.
Even though our membership is 600 people, you have to realize that, like I say, the Lone Star Throwdown Association has been around for a long time, and our membership is getting older. And so we have some effects. Well, it is what it is, you know. But just a lot of people just don't, you know, with so many events going on anymore, you can pull up on 7 or 8, 10 Facebook pages, an event here, there, whatever. And a lot of people that aren't the diehard people just don't want to be gone for 3 days anymore.
Plus,
and
with
so
go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, plus with the type of cars you're talking about street rods. I mean, a lot of these vehicles are under construction almost all the time.
Yeah, you're right. You know, I wouldn't mind driving my truck or my 2 of my vehicles all the way to Granbury. I've done it several times, but I don't know if I would take my 31 to Granbury without being on a trailer. It's small and compacted, and it's just hard to drive a 4-hour drive in it, you know. And that's the thing with there's just a lot of 30 model cars, you know, that are street rods that are, you know, and it's just to drive them 4 hours is kind of inconvenient, you know. But it is what it is.
Yeah, but you know, if you do, you trailer it in and you drive it around town and you trailer it home. Life's still good, you know. And all of your vehicles look very, very cool, and you tend to have some flames on your vehicles. Is there a reason why? I know what the reason is, but
well, you know the reason. But I will tell you this: I was a fireman for the city of Houston for 32 years, and it's just something about the flames and the firefighting stuff, you know.
And street rodding. It all goes together.
And street rodding. Yes, sir. Street rods have a lot of flames. And I'm blessed that the guy who paints my cars, Max Maxwell, is got a talent. I don't know if I can throw that plug in there for Max without getting paid. But Max just does a fantastic job painting the flames. Either the ghost flames on the Nova or the old school flames on the truck. And I'm going to be honest, I win some awards at events, and most awards I always win is best paint. They don't see the craftsmanship that I put into the car. They just see how good the paint is.
And that's why you throw a free plug in for them, right?
So let's talk.
Well, I don't know. Max is probably still asleep.
Let's talk about the modifications that you've made to the Nova. Where do we start?
I guess you can start with the front bumper and work your way back to the back. It's got an LS motor out of a 2008 Camaro with the matching transmission for 4L60. It's got a height front end under it with a Mustang 2 power rack and pinion. As we move on down to the rear, it's got a TCI 4-link with a Curry 9-inch Ford rear end in it.
Wow.
And then, it's oil wood brakes all the way around. My biggest expense was the Foose wheels we put on it. And of course, you pay for the name.
Yep.
But it's just we've lowered it. It's got Ride Tech shocks all the way around. So we've lowered it a little bit, and then we painted it. But if you open the door and climb in the seat, you'll notice that the interior, the seats, the carpet, the headliners, the door handles, everything is original '66 Nova.
Really?
So it's old school / new school. The drivability for the reliability to drive it, like y'all say, I drive it, and so gets great fuel mileage going down the highway. The air conditioner cools great, and so interior wise, it's all with the exception of the radio. It's got a new radio in it, but the interior is all original. And I don't know if you saw the picture of the steering wheel, but it's got a wood steering wheel with aluminum, which is actually a '66 Nova SS factory option. So,
kind of a rare, option.
Yeah, it was a rare option. Yes, sir.
Well, how about the truck now?
Now the truck is totally. I think the only thing original on it's the doors and the fenders. It's got a big block Chevrolet in it, 454. It gets about 9 miles to the gallon, so I have to budget my trips for that baby. And I make a joke that it passes everything on the highway except for the fuel stations. But it's a fun truck to drive. The old school flames on it really stand out with the bright red, stuff like that. And it's really, it's a great truck. Now, the brakes on it are stock. '69 Chevrolet. That hasn't been upgraded, nor has the transmission. So it's basically that one is cosmetic with the paint and the flames and then all the chrome under the engine.
So I assume that when you trailer the 31, you don't trailer it behind the truck.
No, I don't. I don't actually trailer the 31. I actually drive it wherever it goes. So
okay.
I took the 31 to Bernie this year. They have an event in Bernie every year, Run to the Hills, and all the cars there have to be pre-1949. And actually, I drove that little baby all the way up there. Kind of a crazy on my part, but then again, you have to realize that I was a fireman and ran into burning buildings while other people were running out.
So it kind of goes with the territory.
Yeah, it comes with territory being crazy, but I had just had a knee replacement about 4 weeks before the trip to Bernie, and I drove that little thing to Bernie, and it was like, oh, I don't think I'll ever do this again. You know.
I take it that it has a clutch in it.
No, it's actually an automatic.
It's just small.
Just kind of being wadded up inside of it for that long a drive.
That was it. It was just being wadded up inside of it for that long.
Well, Jackie, I follow a lot of your stuff online. I know we talk back and forth on social media. You've got a beautiful collection of cars, something to be real proud of. Thank you for your service as a fireman. And where can somebody find out? Where can somebody find out more about joining the Lone Star Street Rod Association?
We have a Facebook page, LSSRA. You can Google it up on Facebook, or you can reach me at firemanjack101@gmail.
Okay, cool. We appreciate that.
That's where you can always find me, and is with where I'm going next, or what's going on next with the LSSRA, and then the membership for the LSSRA is $25 a year. Our event that we have in Granbury is $50. So I think for the bang for your buck, you can really get a good deal, because the LSSRA, not only when we have our event in Granbury, we partner up with the National Street Rod Association, and we do safety inspections on cars. These guys get down and lay on the grass and look under your car and just check for something that you might miss, maybe a cotter pin missing out of a tie rod end, or you got a little wire loose or something. And so we really work together with other organizations to make safe street rods, to have people that don't break down the road. And we've got a great team that you can, if you have an issue and say you're in Paris, Texas, or you're in Midland, Texas, or Corpus Christi, and you have an issue and with your hot rod, and you can go through and just contact somebody, and somebody will find somebody to help you. And that's what I think is great about a big organization like we have is there's always somebody out there that, because you guys you've been around for a long time, and you have these cars, and something happens sometimes, and there's nothing more frustrating than to walk into an auto parts store and say, I need this for a 1931 Ford, and like the guy behind the counter looks at you like, what?
His eyes just glaze over because he has no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I have a little thing on my notepad that I tell you, my 31 has 69 Camaro brakes on it, or I need an oil
some notes. Yeah.
And I think that's good. But another thing is we pay attention to what goes on in Austin for our rules and our regulations on street rods. Now, we don't have a lobby and arm ourselves, but we work great with the SEMA and stuff like that. So when laws are introduced or amendments introduced for cars, we can try to maybe head something off, because you guys know that once the government takes something away, you're not going to get it back.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah. And so we work really arm in arm with the SEMA and the federal government on modifications for our cars and stuff like that we can get and keep. We've really been pushing the last couple of years. It's still not working, but we've been pushing on the thing about the front license plates on cars, not that it detracts from anything, but it's just one of those things. It's kind of hard to hang a front tag on a 32.
Right. Wasn't designed for it, and sometimes people just think it makes the car look funky. Or you're blocking airflow to something that you need air to flow to. So.
Yep. Yeah. But then again, a lot of times is we work, and one of the things we work with the safety features is the classic cars don't have to be safety inspected anymore. You have to get your tags every 5 years. But sometimes people let things slip, and you got a shock leaking or something that's just not right, and so we really try to band together. I guess
watch out for each other.
Watch out for each other, because let's say it's hard to get people to get parts or work on old cars, and so we pay attention to what goes on in Austin with the SEMA law or the state of Texas laws, and we try to band together and work so that we can have a happy Riders Association and just have a good time and a fun time. And like I said, we met at Lucky's last year, and we'll be at Lucky's again this year. So hopefully everything will work out great for 2021.
Well, let's certainly hope so. And we sure appreciate you taking the time out of your day to talk to us today, Jackie Hanson, with the Lone Star Street Rod Association. Thanks again, my friend, and we'll see you at Lucky's.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, man. Talk to you then. All right. Time now for This Week in Auto History.
And Jeffrey's got some video to run with this. In 1892,
I remember that year.
Alexander Brown and George Stillman of Syracuse, New York, patented an inflatable automobile tire so you could have a pneumatic tire. Prior to that, tires are just hard rubber, and it kind of made the ride quality a little funky. In 1926, General Motors registered the name Pontiac as a trademark. So, and prior to that, Pontiac was Oakland. In 1933, Nissan registered the name Datsun. So, you think some of these are relatively new. They've been around a while.
Do you think that we could pull up that Hyundai logo and talk about that again?
I didn't, but we probably can.
I burned it.
It burned into my mind. In 1937, the Lincoln Tunnel was officially opened to traffic, and the Lincoln Tunnel came from Weehawken, New Jersey, under the 1.5 miles under the Hudson River.
We wouldn't know anything about any of that.
Forget about it.
Popped up into Lower Manhattan. And originally it was just one tunnel, and then through the years they added 2 additional tunnels. So now it's 3 tunnels. The right side tunnel is you're going into, the left side tunnel you're coming out of. The tunnel in the middle, they change direction depending on what time of day it is for rush hour.
You put your right foot in.
And you put your right foot out. In 1945, George Patton was killed in a car wreck driving a Cadillac in Germany. And the uniqueness of the story, they had just stopped, and he had collected a stray dog and was going to take that dog home with him, driving around in Germany, and ended up the Cadillac struck a U.S. military vehicle, and back in those days, people weren't belted in. They didn't have belts. His driver, you can go to the next picture, his driver and the dog survived without injury, but General Patton was killed in the wreck. He wasn't killed in the wreck. He took a pretty big head injury and passed a couple of weeks later.
From his injuries.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the dog's name was Lucky.
In 1952, the first Corvette production-ready prototype was completed and shown to the world. And since then, the Corvette has... did I not send the Corvette picture?
It was just there.
Yeah,
it was there.
Okay.
It was just there.
I was looking down. So in 1985, David Turner and Tim Pickard arrived at the northern end of Scotland, and they had taken a full drive through Great Britain in this full electric vehicle. And it is
pretty ugly.
It's a freight Rover Leland Sherpa that's driven by Lucas electric motor. It's
Rolls
purely
right off the tongue.
It's purely electric. They went 75 miles on a single battery charge. So they avoided
that whole back is full of batteries.
Yeah, they avoided range anxiety because this thing would go a long way. So Don, we're talking to Leland to see if we can get this for you as a company car.
That is one ugly vehicle.
And then in 1989, Roger Moore released his movie Roger and Me, which was basically about General Motors' destruction of the city of Flint, Michigan, where in relatively short period of time they put 30,000 people out of work.
Was it true?
Bits and pieces of it were true. He had a real angry side to the movie.
It was embellished in a lot of respects.
But the basis of the story was very true. You know, GM basically shut down everything they did in Flint, Michigan, put about 30,000 people out of work.
Isn't that where they had the bad water, too?
Yeah, that's most recent. Well, it's been going on for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Bad
What
water.
the hell's wrong up there?
Who's in charge?
Nobody's in charge.
Well, never mind.
Yeah, we're not going there.
Wrong show.
This is a car.
So that is This Week in Automotive History.
Well, I want to talk some more about that.
In 9 minutes, you can talk about it. It'll be in the in the segment coming up in 9 minutes.
In the fourth hour.
In the fourth hour that's not on the air? Again?
The pay-per-view hour.
So that's it. I'll keep my politics to myself.
What would be a good car movie to watch that I haven't watched?
Have you seen Ford versus Ferrari?
Yeah, I have.
I actually thought that was a very good movie.
I have not seen it. I've got it on.
I haven't seen it yet either.
You don't watch movies.
I know.
Have you seen Senna?
I have seen Senna. That also is a very good one.
Oh, my gosh.
Have you seen Corvette Summer?
Oh, my God. What a travesty that is. You kidding me? And you probably watch it over and over and over, don't you?
I made it through it once. That's as far as I could go.
what a
Death
horrible
Race
movie.
2000.
Oh, now that I've watched a couple of times.
Death Race 2000.
When was the last time you watched Vanishing Point?
I haven't watched Vanishing Point in this body, I don't think.
Two-lane blacktop.
Well, Two-Lane Blacktop's pretty good. That's James Taylor.
Yeah, James. I was about to say.
Vanishing Point.
Oh, gosh. Keselowski, you got to watch. If you've never seen Vanishing Point, Vanishing Point is a movie to see.
But you got to watch it.
You got to watch it. Pay attention. You'll like it because it's a little odd.
As long as I can stop it while I'm napping.
It's
automatic go to. Well, I don't think you'll sleep during that one.
No, it's pretty intense. But Vanishing Point's kind of it's got a unique storyline to it.
Watch it in the dark with all the lights out.
And I won't go there.
Herbie. What about
Herbie the Love Bug?
Herbie the Love Bug. When was the last time you
How about
watched
Grand Prix?
with
Yeah. I know. I can see him.
not McQueen.
No. I know who you're talking
James
about.
Garner.
That's
yeah.
it.
Another good movie. Another very good movie. Or Le Mans.
Remember when that came
or
out?
Le Mans with Steve
They showed
McQueen.
it over at the Windsor Cinerama Theater, which is no longer, but it was over there at Richmond and the West Loop, that shopping center, that stripping center there.
What about Bullet?
I've watched Bullet 1,000 times.
Everybody. I mean, I love it, but you can watch it a little too much.
Are you familiar with IMDb?
I know what it is.
That's the everything about movies.
Oh, I thought it was something about you. I am DB. I was trying to figure out what DB meant.
Anyway, so
Dumb butt came to mind, but
well, that would be me. But you download that as a phone app, and any kind of movie or television show, look it up on there, and it gives you everything you want to know about the movie and more. And it dissects and goes in.
I actually used that for last year I ran a piece about Monday movie cars, and that's where I picked some of those cars from Monday Movie Cars was IMDb.
Yeah.
Interesting how they really dissect the movie out.
Including all of the faux pas and the missteps, and if you look at Bullet in particular, you'll see the same Volkswagen in about 5 different scenes.
Mm-hmm. And the same hubcap flying off. And the
7 hubcaps on a 4-wheel car, yeah.
Anyway. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on the In Wheel Time Show. We're going to wrap things up right after this.
Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's premier cruise-in, and you're invited to join in. Whether you're a cruiser or spectator, Tailpipes and Tacos is the place to enjoy made-to-order breakfast tacos, fresh coffee, and mingle with Houston's fun car people. Mark your calendar for Saturday, January 16th for Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupe Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Tailpipes and Tacos is free, and everyone is invited. You'll see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods all at one location. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a friends and family event. The Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 and Katy. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Lupi founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise in, tailpipes and tacos. Saturday, January 16th, 8 to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy. The In Wheel Time Car Show will be there too. Get your ride ready and we'll see you at the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise in, January 16th, 8 to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy, weather permitting.
Oh, that's the wrong one. I think
That's the start of the show.
Leave it to me to screw it up again. Well, that is it for this episode of the In Wheel Time Car Show. Hey, when you're on Facebook, give us a like, please. Tell your friends about us and share our junk. You'll get Conrad's unicorn hunting features along with all things automotive all week long. The In Wheel Time Car Show streams on Facebook, YouTube, and on InWheelTime.com, along with Twitch. Podcasts are available on Pandora, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Podcast, Google Podcast, and Podcast Addict. Special thanks to all of our guests today. The In Wheel Time Chief Engineer is the fabulous David Ainsley. Video sales and marketing man is Jeff Zekin. This week's In Wheel Time Car Show is produced and directed by a very tired Mr. and Mrs. Claus. For booking agent and podcast man Mike Out of This World Mars, his royalty King Conrad DeLong, I'm Don Armstrong saying so long for now, and we hope that you'll join us on the next live show and a new year. Thank God.
A very new year.
See you next year.
Next Saturday, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Central Time, right here on the Smoke and Mirrors Network. Thanks for being part of the In Wheel Time family. Mask up, stay healthy, wash those nasty hands. This is Don Armstrong saying so long for now.